kuchagua kati ya kakangu na mpenzi wangu.
Mama, are you really okay?
There's nothing you can say to change what I feel.
Sijakuja hapa kwa kuwa nimekumisi. Naona utazipata hizo tabu sana.
Achana kujipendekeza kwa mume wangu.
Umemaliza? Okay.
Good morning, this is KBC Channel 1. You're watching Good Morning Kenya, and I'm Regina Manyara. Being April 20th, the year is 2022. Thank you for keeping us company. We also want to inform you that if you're not able to watch us from the comfort of your home or your office at this morning, we are streaming, so you can get us, at your convenience. You can check us out on Facebook as well as YouTube at KBC Channel 1. We have so much in store for you, including how the political matrix is changing, especially in as far as Nairobi County is concerned. We have a new entrant in the gubernatorial race there. At the same time, hopeful governor hopeful there, Tim Wanyonyi, maintains that he's firmly in the race for the top seat in Nairobi County come August 9th. And why is it exciting that, the thought that Martha Karua might be picked as Raila Odinga's running mate? All that you're going to be putting into perspective as we focus on stories that have been making headlines in the last 24 hours. My Twitter handle is at Ray Manyara. Official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. Now we start off with matters of insecurity, where 5 people were last night killed at Mwenkoronko village in Meru County. Now the raid is believed to be a revenge attack by Somali camel herders from neighboring Isiolo County after locals killed 10 camels that had invaded their farms earlier during the day. Irate locals barricaded the Isiolo-Muriri Road, protesting laxity by police as the attackers terrorized locals for hours.
Residents of Mweromalia village in Meru lamented over the government's failure to beef up security in the area, as promised during the Requiem Mass for 7 other people who were killed in the neighboring Mweronkoro village 2 months ago. They complained that the security agencies had not done enough in tracking down the killers, arguing that owners of the slain camels had earlier visited the scene in the company of local government administrators and an area police boss, and warned of dire consequences following the killing of the camels.
Last time watu tulikuwa hapa Moronkoro, watu wameuawa. Last week bado watu mzozo inaendelea. Kwa hivyo sisi tunauliza kama watu wa Mudhara na watu wa Tigani wote. Watu wangamia waliambiwa wasiingie Meru tena. Last time wakati tulikuwa mkutano ya Moronkoro, wakati watu 7 waliuawa, county commissioner na pia Mbugua na gavana wetu Kiraitu Murungi alisema ngamia hazitaingia tena kwa hii border, kwa border ya Meru.
Hezron Mageria Dhambura, a village resident and relative to one of the deceased persons, also accused the government of disarming Kenya Police Reservice from the Meru side a few years ago, while a similar disarmament exercise was not conducted in the neighboring Isiolo.
Tumepoteza watu wengi, watu ambao kabisa hawakuwa wanafaa kupoteza maisha yao kutokea na kitendo cha kiunyama kilitendeka hapo usiku. Na ni ombi letu serikali iweze kutimiza maadi ambayo imetuwekea kwa muda mrefu.
The irate locals called on area leaders to stop politicking and instead address security situation in the region that is deteriorating by day.
Tunaomba serikali ichukue hatua, iact on hii maneno na imalize mara moja, kwa sababu tunahitaji amani. Na kama hakutakuwa na hawata intervene, hakutakuwa na amani hii area.
Hawa ndio wanapiga watu mchana.
We're going to be keeping up, with that, or rather latest developments from Meru Isiolo there to just find out what has the security apparatus have done so far. Now, the government has expressed concern over the caliber of leaders to be elected in the next parliament, owing to the increasing incidence of money laundering witnessed as the country approaches a general election. Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i said such practices threaten national security.
The Anglican Church of Kenya Bishops and Clergy 5-day conference began in Nairobi on Tuesday, focusing on the role of the church in elections. The chief guest Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i was accompanied by his communication counterpart Joe Musheru, Inspector General of Police Hilary Mtiambai, and Attorney General Paul Kihara, who stated the role their agencies will play.
We have seen political leaders moving around, massing groups of people and giving them money. Some of them are actually caught on tape, asking one to queue and they're just giving them money to attend meetings or to do certain things.
Is it possible we find a way of being able to sanitize most of this information that is out there, so that we have you speak even more when truth is actually not being told?
In his address, Matiang'i cautioned the electorate over the increasing cases of voter bribery and commercialization of politics, terming it a threat to national security.
These people are the only ones who have that kind of money that they will give around like that. They will be in our elective institutions. They will be writing laws for you. And they will allow themselves to allow that gambling and all those things to thrive in this country.
He reckoned that the threat of perverting parliamentary democracy and county assemblies business by having people with questionable integrity is real.
You drive public money in that state. You eat food bought by that public state that you are condemning. You live in a house of that state. When does it become deep?
He challenged politicians to address the dangerous link between corruption and election outcomes. On the insecurity in Marsabit, Matiang'i said adequate security will be deployed to quell clashes that are pitting communities against each other.
The things I have heard and collected from people in that county are not spoken anywhere in this country.
You must assist us and this country in keeping the flock together towards the salvation that has been declared by Christ's resurrection.
And we said we are not going to shy away from what's happening in the public. We'll engage. Thank you.
Now, when that is happening in as far as matters graft is concerned, is that a prison supervisor who allegedly embezzled 257 million shillings meant for inmates is in trouble after the High Court froze his properties. We'll be giving you details as we focus on those stories that are making headlines from the corridors of justice. Now we head into matters politics, where Deputy President William Ruto has assured the church of a free operational space if he's elected president in the August 9th polls. He was speaking in Nyeri County, where he lauded the UDA party for conducting what he termed as fair nominations.
The Deputy President was in Nyeri County to condole the family of Kikuyu MP Kimani Ichung'wah, who lost his mother-in-law. Ruto sought to assure the church that he would protect the freedom of worship in the country in the backdrop of calls to regulate the church.
Na msiwe na wasiwasi kwamba kuna mtu yeyote atakuja kufunga kazi ya kanisa. Haiwezekani. It is not possible.
The Deputy President called on Nyeri residents to support his presidential bid, as his administration would prioritize the expansion of the economy to cushion the poor.
Wakenya hawana shida na Wakenya wengine wa kutoka jamii zingine. Ile tatizo kubwa tuko nayo ni tatizo ya uchumi. Na tumesema uchaguzi wa mwaka huu ni uchaguzi ambao tutautumia kushughulikia uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya.
His allies drumming up support for Ruto and the UDA party, claiming it had conducted credible nominations devoid of interference.
Watu wengine ambao hata hawakudhubutu kufanya any of their preliminaries, party preliminaries, wameanza kutulaumu. Ati tulifanya na hawa. I was telling the deputy president, asante ulitupeleka UDA.
In the meantime, Naivasha MP Jane Kihara will now fly the party's flag after she was issued with the party's nomination certificate. This after the UDA Disputes Tribunal overturned former MP John Kihage's win and found that Kihara had beaten Kihage with a single vote. Kihara has also in the meantime blamed Nakuru Senator and gubernatorial aspirant Susan Kihika, accusing her of meddling with the nominations.
Kama naomba kura za Naivasha ama za county, awachane kushika yeyote mkono, ndio sisi zote tumtafutie kura. Lakini akituonyesha kuna yule anapendelea, ujue wengine hatutamfanyia kazi.
The party's National Election Board is in the meantime preparing to conduct repeat nominations in various parts of the country Wednesday and Thursday, after conducting nominations in Nandi Hills constituency in Nandi County Tuesday. Meanwhile, a section of aspirants in the Moses Kuria-led Chama cha Kazi have protested alleged blackmail and underhand dealings that have seen some of them lose out on the nomination certificates. Police officers had to be called in to diffuse simmering tensions, threatening to explode to violence at party headquarters. The party has, however, assured aspirants that it will issue nomination certificates by the 28th.
I want to make an assurance that we shall give every person their certificate, more so those ones who they are not contesting with anyone, isn't it? Most of you here are not contesting with anyone.
Former Kiambu Governor William Kabogo has dispelled rumours that he is being offered a cabinet secretary slot by the Kenya Kwanza coalition so as to drop his bid for governorship. Speaking Tuesday afternoon after being cleared by the Tujibebe wa Kenya Party Elections Board to run for governorship, Kabogo said he was ready for a face-off with his competitors, regardless of their party affiliations.
I am not employable, if that answers your question. I cannot be hired for an 8 to 5 job. I can only be hired by Wanjiko through the ballot.
Still on matters politics, Wiper Democratic Movement has settled on former Kitui Governor Julius Mekau Malombe as its candidate for the Kitui gubernatorial contest in the August 9th polls. The party nominated Malombe through a consensus process that it says has taken over 2 weeks between the former governor and the immediate former Kenyan ambassador to Uganda, Kiema Kilonzo, spearheaded by the leader Kalonzo Musyoka.
Former Kitui Governor Julius Malombe will fly the Wiper Democratic Party ticket in the Kitui gubernatorial contest in the August 9th general election. Malombe was awarded the ticket after consensus with his competitor, former Kenya ambassador to Uganda, Kiema Kilonzo, spearheaded by the Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka.
And the decision was that this ticket should be given to Governor Dr. Julius Malombe. And NEC unanimously, actually they were clapping, unanimously adopted.
Deputy Speaker Jessica Mbalu also got the direct ticket to vie for Kibwezi East constituency on Wiper ticket after her competitor William Malile agreed to support her bid. Meanwhile, a section of Kajiado Central constituency residents want ODM party to include the constituency in the nominations slated for Wednesday. ODM will be undertaking nominations in Kajiado North and Kajiado East constituencies. The party has already issued a direct ticket to Elijah Memusi for the Kajiado Central parliamentary seat.
Ya kwamba wana Matapato North, sisi hatuna wasiwasi. Tumejitayarisha, tumepiga kampeni na tumeingia mashinani kabisa. Tumetafuta kura, lakini haitakuwa haki kama hatutapata mchujo huu ambao uliwekwa tarehe 20 mwezi huu wa 4 ambao tulikuwa tunautarajia kuwa ni kesho.
Tumesikia kwamba kutakuwa na nomination kwa maana jana ilipostiwa kwamba
zile vituo ambayo ama zile places ambao kutakuwa na nomination kama pale Kajiado East, Kajiado North na Kajiado West, lakini Kajiado Central particularly Matapato North hakuna nomination ambayo iliweza kugazetiwa jana. Na kwa sababu ya hiyo tunanyimwa haki yetu kama wakazi wa Kajiado.
Baba, you know very much that we love you so much. We love ODM. We are kindly requesting this, that let the people of Matapato elect their preferred candidate.
Meanwhile, ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna now says constituent parties in the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party will field candidates in Nairobi County.
I think there is agreement that let everybody field their own candidates, because it is going to be very difficult to reach consensus on who drops out for whom. So in the interest of saving all of us unnecessary tears, let every political party, because you see from the side of ODM, we are very confident because of the work we have done as a party, building this party and ensuring that it has support to the grassroots and to have structures all the way to the polling stations, that in fact ODM candidates will do very well in majority of the areas in Nairobi.
On to matters health now is that the Kenya Medical Research Institute will be conducting research to ascertain if the Johnson & Johnson vaccines in the country can still be administered. This follows, the World Health Organization increasing the lifeline of the seed vaccines from 4.5 months to 11 months. That's just a quick update on where we are in as far as the COVID-19 status is concerned. Now, still keeping up with matters health is that the Ministry of Health has launched 3 policy documents on menstrual hygiene management and urban sanitization guidelines. The documents contain a framework that will enable the improvement of hygiene and sanitation in schools and urban areas.
In 2017, a report by UNICEF placed Kenya among 26 countries in the world responsible for 90% of open defecation. 5 years later, the Kenyan government is moving to change the narrative. The Ministry of Health on Tuesday launched 3 additional policy documents to provide a framework for the implementation of sanitation and hygiene interventions. The documents include the Hygiene Promotion in Schools Handbook, a handbook on menstrual hygiene management in schools that will remedy challenges girls face when menstruating.
The menstrual hygiene management in schools, again a handbook for teachers, reinforcing learning and also acting as a reference guide for teachers, such that it will remedy the various challenges that schoolgirls face while menstruating, and will work towards the provision of factual information to break the silence in terms of myths, taboos, beliefs, and misconceptions.
The Kenya National Guidelines for Implementation of Urban Sanitation document was also launched and will help provide direction on safe disposal of fecal sludge in urban areas and sanitation planning under urban development.
These guidelines will ensure that development plans for urban areas have inbuilt sanitation components and sanitation systems that are designed and managed safely to protect human health from microbial hazards caused by human excreta and the consequent adverse health outcomes that come out of that. What are we going to do really truly when it comes to implementation? And we know, I think as county governments, we know you have to have the resources in place.
Now, Katiba Institute has filed a case against Safaricom over the ongoing SIM card registration exercise. In the application, the institution wants the court to order the mobile service provider to delete all the subscribers' photos, saying that the requirements that its customers provide a picture is illegal.
Katiba Institute has asked the court to issue orders barring Safaricom from continuing asking for the photos as a condition to registration. Last week, Communications Authority of Kenya extended the deadline of SIM card registration by 6 months. And also, The High Court has barred a former prison's employee from disposing 3 parcels of land in Kisii, Nairobi and Kericho, and 7 motor vehicles he allegedly acquired fraudulently from the State Department for Correctional Services. Lady Justice Ian Maina granted the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission's applications to have properties belonging to one Eric Kipkirui Mutai frozen by the court for 6 months pending the conclusion of investigations into how he acquired the wealth. Kipkirui, a prison cleaner, was found in possession of property running into hundreds of millions of shillings despite his meager salary. The ESCC says Kipkirui is the sole proprietor of 7 enterprises worth a combined 257 million shillings. Elsewhere, prosecution handling graft case against the former governor Mike Sonko has filed an application seeking photocopies of a number of the documents in the 14 million graft case to be used in 2 other graft cases. Appearing before Chief Magistrate Lawrence Mugambi, the defense opposed the application but the court allowed it, stating that the trial court handling the case will determine if they are admissible. Meanwhile, Sheria Mtahani has filed an application for contempt of court against the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority Board of Directors for appointing Emily Ngunza Arao despite a court order restraining them from doing so, pending a case in court. Sheria Mtahani in the court documents accused the respondents of deliberate and contemptuous action intended to bring the court orders. The Kenya Civil Aviation Authority appointed Emily Ngunza Arao as the new Director General, effective 22nd of April 2022. Finally, it's a sign of relief for businesswoman Mary Wamboi Mungai after the High Court lifted an order barring her from accessing 2.5 billion shillings in 13 bank accounts. In a judgment by Justice Alfred Mabea, the court ruled that Kenya's Revenue Authority rushed to block the money without disclosing that she was facing tax evasion charges before a magistrate. Mungai's accounts had been frozen in December. According to the judge, evidence presented before him showed it was the taxpayer who was begging the taxman to accept payment of the taxes, but KRA chose to look the other way.
Now, still keeping up with Malta's security, 3 men who were captured in a video beating up a woman presumed to be their in-law and her son in Ringa, Homa Bay County, were arrested following widespread condemnation by Kenyans after the clip went viral. Meanwhile, a widow in Koroba village in Kisii County has succumbed to serious injuries inflicted by an unknown assailant who sneaked into her house.
According to Homa Bay Police Commander Samson Kine, Dedan Kimathi and also Thiambo and Lukio Okwiri are currently being held at Oriwo Police Station in Kambui, awaiting to be arraigned at the Homa Bay Law Courts to answer charges of physical assault. It was not clear what triggered the assault, but the dialogue in the video indicates the woman was accused of breaking some Luo traditions. The brutality meted on the two has attracted condemnation, with calls for stern action to be taken on the culprits. Elsewhere, a 60-year-old woman in Nyamache sub-county, Kisii County, has been beaten to death by unknown people. The family members, however, claimed that the widow, who was alone during the incident, died in a hospital while calling on the name of the attacker.
Nikampeleka Keroka akaitimiwa, nikaambiwa rudi kesho umpeleke wapi nini X-ray. Sasa kufika saa moja hivi saile ninaita gari, dadangu akanipigia kwa heri na akaniambia mwenye aliua
The old widow was rushed to Keroka Sub-County Health Facility after family members found her unconscious in her living room, where an X-ray confirmed that she had marks of strangulation on the neck and fresh wounds on the chest.
Huyu mama amefariki, ni anti yangu na mshangao mkubwa kwa hiki kijiji yetu.
They condemned the vicious attack and subsequent death, attributing it to a land dispute, and urged the government to launch investigations and bring the attackers to book.
Hiki kisa hakijawahi onekana kwa hii kijiji yetu, lakini hii ndio mara ya kwanza kuonekana. Sasa sisi tunaomba serikali ifuatilie hii maneno ili tujue ni nani alifanya hiki kitendo.
Unfortunately, it has become a crime to actually be old in some communities. I hope that the authorities bring these particular people to book. Now, crossing over to the business arena, coffee trading might be disrupted if the new coffee 2022 regulations are gazetted in their current form. Among other regulations fronted by the Food and Agriculture Authority is the removing of the coffee brokers licensing from the Capital Markets Authority that has so far licensed a number of brokers. This emerged during a public participation forum in Nairobi, marred by disruptions after some farmers were locked out of the meeting.
The standoff between the Agriculture and Food Authority and the coffee farmers concerning the new regulations saw some farmers locked out of the stakeholders meeting earlier on Tuesday. The bone of contention, according to the farmers, is deleting of the brokers and agent terms in the new regulations, which they say is seeking to remove the Capital Markets Authority from licensing coffee traders. Coffee farmers are adamant that the licensing regime should be left to the county governments and the Capital Markets Authority to ensure the licensing is seamless and transparent.
And the county government have its gains, or rather have their part. The national government has its part. So one of the part concerning the licensing and all that is being taken away again from the county.
Farmers are also calling for the expeditious creation of a direct settlement system that will ease the 1 billion shilling requirement that has hindered coffee factories from selling their produce to the market directly.
We want to see these people with the document they are discussing here now, it is not allowing the members to be able to sell their coffee without, say, paying one Kenya billion shillings. Where do these farmers get the 1 billion?
The Agriculture and Food Authority says there's need for more negotiations before the payment system is put in place to ensure prompt payment of farmers, and is against farmers being paid directly, rather preferring payment through cooperatives.
All coffee sales from the auction floor will be deposited in accounts farmers have conveyed or the coffee estate farmers have given. So I don't see any complexity. It's only that it's a new idea and the change is normal.
It says being a facility should not hold the farmers' money even at a given point. The money, once the money hits the system, is supposed to ensure that all the deductions that are supposed to be made are made and the money is sent immediately to the farmer's account.
The coffee bill is currently at the Senate after undergoing a third reading in the National Assembly, with another government-sponsored bill still at the first reading in the National Assembly.
Now let's speak matters sports there. President Uhuru Kenyatta says the government is committed to support persons living with disabilities shape their careers and achieve their dreams in the sporting arena. On Tuesday, the president flagged off Team Kenya ahead of the 24th Summer Deaflympics slated for May 1st to the 15th in Brazil. The first batch of the contingent will leave the country this Thursday, while the second batch will be leaving on Saturday ahead of the global showpiece.
Speaking at State House Nairobi, President Uhuru Kenyatta noted that the government is at the forefront to ensure that they promote sporting activities in Kenya as an investment to the future generations.
Today, you prove that in Kenya, disability is not inability. You will join the ranks of your abled brothers and sisters who have brought pride to this country, and I am certain, as Ambassador Amina has said, that you too shall not fail in bringing pride to your country.
The contingent of 124 athletes is optimistic of staging a good show in the global showpiece.
Kenya, Your Excellency, is sending 124 athletes who will take part in 5 different disciplines: athletics, basketball, golf, handball, and football competitions. And Your Excellency, you remember that there was one of us who won one of the golf competitions and you actually awarded him a golf kit.
Team Kenya will be out to defend the men's 5,000 meters and men's 1,500 meters races. Kenya will participate in various disciplines excluding badminton team, which won't travel after failing to take part in the World Championship and African's Championship, which acted as a qualifier event. Simon Cherono Kibai will be looking forward to maintain a stellar performance in the men's 10 kilometers, with Beryl Otieno eyeing the 200 meters gold medal. The first batch of the contingent will depart to Brazil on Thursday this week, while the second will leave the country on Saturday.
Now, before we close this chapter, someone has just inboxed me and reminded me that we lost to Liverpool yesterday as Manchester United was playing. Well, what did you expect? Cristiano Ronaldo was mourning the death of his son. May his soul continue resting in peace. And the worst case scenario is that Arsenal is the loudest making that noise. But hey, we're waiting to see the turn of events in the course of the week when they finish their game. Well, as we say, we are yet to do something when it comes to Manchester United. Our main problem, as far as I'm concerned, is none other than our captain, Maguire there, who is ever pulling back and doing all manner of things. So tonight, at Stamford Bridge, we expect Chelsea to be taking on Arsenal. Let's have that conversation tomorrow. How about that? That brings a close to matters in the headlines. Remember, further details are still available on our website. Now I'll take a quick look onto what we have on our various dailies this morning. Victor.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Yes. All right. So, talk of Manchester United. I mean, let's not just sweep their win under the carpet. I stayed up late for nothing. If you get what I mean. I stayed up late for zero reasons. I mean, anyway. That was a good match. But anyway, that is football, all right? So, in solidarity, Regina, hata si pia tunaumia, but hey.
No, tuonge kesho after game ya leo usiku 9:45.
Arsenal is a team of a comeback. I don't know why people did not even won. But chose the two just to console CR7, man. I mean, anyway, sawa. On to the papers. The Star newspaper. CS Matiang'i attacks Ruto, tells DP to quit. CS Matiang'i attacks Ruto, tells DP to quit. Interior Chief dismisses deep state narrative, claims second in command is a populist. But Ford Kenya's Wetangula defends UDA leader, saying that there's a plot to rig polls. That is what's on the front page of the Star newspaper. Kalonzo team, Kenyatta and Raila have betrayed us. This is something that we'll be discussing in the next hour with our analyst here. Raila to meet senior US senators and tech giants. He will be leaving the country on 21st, that is on Friday, and he'll be there for 1 week. And for 3 days, the ODM leader will spend 3 days each in Washington and Silicon Valley. Accompanying Raila for the high-profile trip include Governors Wycliffe Oparanya of Kakamega, Ndiritu Muriithi of Laikipia, and James Ongwae of Kisii. Then, on Sunday, there is that video that went viral of a woman who was being assaulted. Yeah, so sad. In my home area, Kaspul Kabondo. So, 3 gentlemen have been arrested. And when you look at the photos of 3 gentlemen who were arrested, these are people who are most likely in their late 70s or early 80s. And my take is that probably they have never appeared on a newspaper for any good or bad reason. But, you know, at their old age, now they're appearing on the newspaper headlines for all the wrong reasons. And perhaps they've never been arrested. Okay. This story of graft. Prisons employees 275 million shillings assets frozen in graft war. His salary is only 20,000 shillings, but he's worth 275 million shillings. Life is unfair. So the High Court has frozen assets worth 275 million shillings belonging to an employee of the State Department of Corrections. The assets were allegedly obtained through dubious deals. Now, Justice Esther Maina granted the order after the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission told the court that Eric Mutai fraudulently acquired the asset through fictitious contracts in 4 years between 2012 and 2016. Now the judge further directed Mutai to surrender the vehicle's logbooks to EACC within 7 days. All right. So according to the story here, the three gentlemen will be arraigned after the police complete their investigation. Now, the story is that the violence began on Sunday when the woman's son was fighting with his sister. Clan members said that he was disobedient and wanted to turn him over to the police. His mother protested the move to surrender him, and during the process, she was accused of removing her undergarment to demonstrate her protest against the clan decision. The woman denied that she had removed her undergarment, and that is exactly. But according to the lady, she said that she did not do such a thing. It was just an accusation, and even in the video, somebody would hear her saying that that is a T-shirt. That is not what you people are talking about. But the lashing continued for close to 6 minutes or so. Yeah. So Kalonzo team, Uhuru, Raila have betrayed us. According to close sources, that is Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., who has claimed that Kalonzo signed a separate deal with Uhuru and Raila, handing him the running mate slot. Now, the agreement, he said, was in line with the three-legged stool arrangement that placed the three as the key anchors of the Azimio coalition. Details of this is what we'll be discussing in the next segment of in our viewpoint. And ODM leader to meet senior senators, tech giants in US tour that starting on Friday. Raila to give tickets on Bomas despite protest. That is what will be happening. ODM leader Raila Odinga on Wednesday will hand out nomination certificates despite protest by losers, accusing the party of imposing unpopular candidates. Now, the Orange party boss and Azimio presidential flag bearer will first meet nominees at the Bomas of Kenya before conferring the documents on them. Now, the nominees include those who won in the primaries, okay, as well as those who received direct tickets. So that will be happening actually today at the Bomas of Kenya. Raila's presidential campaign secretariat, Dennis Onsarigo, on Tuesday confirmed that the meeting will indeed take place. That's what I have for you on this time. Jen.
Now, let me bring you to the Daily Nation, and we start off with, of course, the main read here on the front page. Now, teachers want 16,000 hike in school fees, and this is what came from the meeting that has been happening for comprising the secondary school head teachers in Mombasa. So they now say that citing the high cost of running schools, and especially amid the hard economic times that we are in, they now want parents to be charged an extra 8,000 per child, and for the government to raise the capitation per child to by another 8,000 from the current 22,000 to 30,000. Will they have their way? We are yet to get the response from the government, and especially so the Ministry of Education. That story has been covered here on this particular daily. This is all in line with making sure that they're able to attend to the kids, and especially so as we are in this crash program to try and get back to the normal academic year that is expected to resume in January of 2023. Away from that, we come to the next story, politics here. It's Igave and Wanyonyi for the Nairobi race. So according to this particular daily, there was a meeting and a State House brokers deal their clearing the way for former Nairobi DG Polycarp Igathe to be named as the Azimio One Kenya candidate for Nairobi's gubernatorial race, and of course being seconded by Westlands MP Tim Wanyonyi. It is said that this happened yesterday in a meeting that took place in State House, and currently Igathe is the commercial officer. Yeah, the chief commercial officer at Equity Group Holdings, and it is said that yesterday they were in a closed-door meeting and they settled on him being the Azimio flag, to fly the Azimio flag, and of course being his running mate being Tim Wanyonyi. And of course, you still remember we have Nairobi Governor Anne Kananu, who is also in the race for re-election. Now, away from that, we also have that story concerning the 6-piece vote. And according to the Uhuru camp in the coalition, they tell him it is a no. This has been covered here on page 4 and 5. And according to President Kenyatta's camp within the Azimio la Umoja coalition, yesterday they warned that ODM leader Raila Odinga's 6-piece suit call in Nyanza could upset the voter turnout and could one way or the other be termed as zoning, which is something that they are trying to avoid. So instead, they want Mr. Odinga to let all candidates fight it out at the polls, dismissing this 6-piece suit call and saying that every candidate has a right to go for all these elective seats, and in one way or the other he should stop to attempt to reintroduce zoning through this back door that was rejected by the affiliates. So saying those that are seeking any of these seats should go to the polls and fight it out. And yesterday affiliate parties also demanded that Mr. Odinga retract his statement, which they say could hurt the coalition's bigger picture. So they say he needs to retract that statement concerning the 6-piece suit vote in his home ground. Now, coming to the last story, or rather second last story, concerning the puzzle of yet another athlete killed allegedly by lover. And this comes only about 7 months before, or rather after, the death of Agnes Tirop that also happened in Iten. So according to the Elgeyo-Marakwet County, where she was discovered, the body of Damaris Muthe, according to this particular daily, the officers reported that the 24-year-old's body was found decomposing in a house in Iten. They go on to say that they believe that the boyfriend is the one who committed the act because he has since fled the country after her body was discovered. And again, this comes only 7 months after Agnes Tirop was discovered. And finally, here on the front page of the Daily Nation, this is a story concerning the scandal of a level 5 hospital. It's supposed to be a level 5 hospital, considering it got the certification on the 1st of January this year. This is the puzzle concerning Meditest Hospital, which they go on to give great detail about this particular hospital. And in brief, this hospital does not even have its own kitchen. They apparently get food for the patients across the road because they do not have the facility to have in-house kitchen, and also its capacity does not allow it to have level 5 clearance, and yet it was given this clearance by the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council this year, January. So what really happened in regards to this particular case of it being issued a level 5 clearance? Well, that story is here on page 10 of the Daily Nation. Victor.
And very quickly on the People Daily here on this front page, Nairobi seat stars Azimio bosses. Meeting chaired by Uhuru fails to unlock deadlock over who between Jubilee and ODM should contest in the city's gubernatorial race. That is also on the front page of the People Daily. Reality check for aspirants running as independent candidates, something that we'll also be discussing in the next hour. And of course, that story of Ethiopian links to killing of athlete Muthe, whose decomposing body was found by police in her house in Iten. Shock of 2,000 mentally unfit cops. That is according to Mutiambai. Very quickly, That is on the front page. Now, Raila tells cause to vote 6 for ODM hopeful again. Raila says that Azimio presidential candidate promises residents huge benefits from SGR, promises to improve Mombasa Port, and so much more. That is, again, what is there. Very quickly, Ethiopian linked to murder of another female athlete, Damaris Mutua, is said to have been killed by her foreign colleague who fled the country after the incident. And finally, beaten bigwigs rush to ditch parties for independent tags. But stringent rules await them, such as submitting 1,000 signatures and ID cards, copies of their supporters. That is what will be happening in the next few days as the race to succeed each candidate intensifies. State releases 16 billion shillings capitation to schools. Head teachers, however, called for a 28% increase of the money to meet growing economic demand. Okay, matters education, again, something that we'll be handling in the next segment. For now, Regina, what do you have on the Standard?
Skimming through the Standard this morning, it's just about conversations around the political scene. Deep State, Matiang'i attacks Ruto there. No holds barred. That's the Kika Interior CS Defense President's support for ODM leader presidential bid, and accuses the Deputy President of perpetrating a pandemic of lies and complaining of non-existent Deep State for political mileage. I'm sure that is going to be tackled when you deal with matters politics, Victor there. Then there's that sad story there of the slain athlete found dead in her boyfriend's house just yesterday there. Apparently now information coming in that Kenyan-born Baharini athlete Damaris Mutua was found dead in a house in Iten, Elgeyo Marakwet County, and her death comes exactly 6 months after Agnes Tirops was murdered in the same county. So, according to KO North Deputy County Commissioner Julius Mayo, he said that the Ethiopian athlete Eskander Haile Mariam is a main suspect in this particular murder incident there. And he said that Mutua's body was found in Haile Mariam's bed on Tuesday. The suspect is now in Ethiopia, and he said to have phoned a neighbor to say that he had killed his girlfriend. Now, details of his age are not immediately known. Residents of Iten knew him only as Koki. This is a very sad affair. The slain lady used to train in Iten and Kapsabet, has already been termed to be very hardworking and forward-thinking. She had won the Marrakech 20 kilometers race in Morocco in 2018, and there was a runners-up in a number of competitions, such as the Casablanca Memorial Round 10-kilometer race. Investigations are underway. I don't know what, as far as diplomacy is concerned, I don't know what it takes to actually have someone extradited from Ethiopia to come back to answer to this issues of murder there. I don't know what happens. This will take quite some diplomacy to have this person tried and possibly convicted for murder. Matters of politics there, we have the negotiations that were made between, Wiper, actually negotiated by Wiper leader there, Kalonzo Musyoka, to have former Governor Julius Malombe carry the flag, or rather is the flag bearer in as far as the Wiper party is concerned in Kitui County for the gubernatorial race there. Also, there's a question of the running mate, and this does not just befall Kenya Kwanza, but also is something that is dogging Azimio. And now there is talk and an announcement from women leaders coming out to say that, you know what, we want Martha Karua to be picked as Raila Odinga's running mate. Well, she comes in with a wealth of experience, and if you go back in history, 2007, there was a Monica that came and said that she's the only man in Kibaki's cabinet, and this is in her defense of Mwai Kibaki there in the disputed elections of 2007. But the question of loyalty, can it be transferred That's a question. And looking at the voting history of women, women are said to be enemies of their own. Will she bring or deliver the votes in as far as Azimio is concerned? That is, if she's picked as the deputy president, and also, or rather the running mate in as far as Azimio is concerned. And also there's the question of Kalonzo Musyoka, with a rich voting bloc pegged at around 2 million or so votes. Will he be picked? Well, it's a headache indeed in as far as, the race to the top is concerned on the August 9th polls there. There's also an exclusive interview of none other than Toto. She's referred to as Toto because during the UDA nominations that are taking place and are still ongoing in some areas there, as late as yesterday, we had the ticket being handed over to Charles Keter there. This lady took the social media as well and mainstream media by storm. Why? Because after she was apparently or allegedly barred from accessing the current residence, well, she is going to be in elective politics. Bomet woman representative flying the UDA flag. There's an exclusive interview here, and her mother Betty Langat has been quoted here, and I'd like to read it out as we bring this to a close and usher in conversations to better put matters of politics into perspective. She says, like any parent, I wanted her to get a job and stop listening to those who are advising her to toss herself into politics. I thought they were all fooling her. So who's fooling who? Toto is Bomet woman representative flying the UDA flag there, waiting for the polls come August 9th. I'm Regina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant viewing ahead.
Much about your son. He's so timid. He wouldn't do anything desperate.
What are you trying to say, huh?
Stop playing the sad card in front of me. What you did is unforgivable. You didn't even get half of what you deserve.
I heard it with my own ears. The woman who looks like Pinky was calling Mrs. Gao mom.
Ah, come on. You must have gotten it wrong. That's impossible.
What I lost was more than my daughter and a piece of land. It's also my 30 years of life.
Pia tunazungumzia fadhila za mwezi mtukufu wa Ramadhani. Wanaombea msamaha watu wenye kutoa sadaka, wanaombea msamaha watu wenye kufuturisha, wanaombea msamaha kila mtu aliyekubali kufuata maamrisho ya Mwenyezi Mungu.
يراني نقولها قدام السامعين واللي متابعين الفرد وسنة يراني لنحاشم.
Chagua kati ya kakangu na mpenzi wangu. Mama, are you really okay?
There's nothing you can say to change what I feel.
Sijakuja hapa kwa kuwa nimekumiss. Naona utazipata hizo tabu sana.
Achana kujipendekeza kwa mume wangu.
Umemaliza? Oh, okay.
now.
You don't know much about your son. He's so timid. He wouldn't do anything desperate.
What are you trying to say, huh? Stop playing the sad card in front of me. What you did is unforgivable. You didn't even get half of what you deserve.
I heard it with my own ears. The woman who looks like Pinky was calling Mrs. Gao Mom.
Ah, come on. You must have gotten it wrong. That's impossible.
What I lost was more than my daughter and a piece of land. It's also my 30 years of life.
This is what street families call normal. Existing in an urban wilderness where only the fittest survive. Unkempt youth sniffing glue, a deliberate attempt to stay numb from the harsh realities of living in the streets. It's about 5:30 a.m. when we get to Riverside area in Kenya's capital, Nairobi.
One day, I wanna make it a better place for everyone on my side, always.
His street name is Pablo. For as long as he can remember, Pablo has called the streets of Nairobi home.
Mi kujipata kwa hii system ya street life, ni mpango tu ya Mungu. Mi sikuwa nimepanga niko hapa, lakini nijipata nikajua kuna something Mungu anatry ku bring out of this street life.
From pavements, under bridges, condemned buildings, parks, dump sites, literally any space, no matter how deplorable, is home.
Mvua ikinyesha kwa inakuanga tafu, napata zone ya kupark ndio ulale na kuwa ngumu. Napata area yote ni maji, unaona. So lazima utafute place kumejificha sana, na huku place mingi kuna kwa kumefungwa. Huwezi pata tikayadi penye unaweza tulia na usinyeshewe.
Pablo and his peers are part of the over 46,000 persons who, according to a 2018 national census of street families, live in the streets across the 47 counties in Kenya. The census also revealed several push and pull factors that kept them in the streets, which included, among others, mistreatment by parents and relatives, deaths of parents, domestic violence, and just being born in the streets.
Nikwangana ananipiga ananifanyisha vitu ngumu, akanifukuza, akaniambia wewe si mtoto wangu.
Mimi nijipata base mimi nilikosa kuchop ndio masisi na mabro wa chop na cheki.
Shida yenye nilitoa nyumbani ni kukosa chakula, school fees ya form 1 nikakosa. Mimi nishamaliza class 8, lakini mimi nikipata mtu wa kunipeleka form 1 mimi nafurahia.
With lack of basic formal education, they have limited opportunities and are often left at the mercy of passers-by and good Samaritans who are increasingly becoming rare because of the stigma associated with street families.
Kama vile tunaweza patana na wewe, nikwambie, auntie, nibaye chakula na wewe uniambie toka hapa kitoto hii enda kwenu. Lakini mimi nasema Mungu najua hujanisahau.
Hata ukiangalia watu wengi hapa, nguo na viatu ndio shida, wengine wamevalia ringanisha. Hata kama ni chakula mtakula tu mnatuletea, tuwezi kataa.
For many of them, crime is the only readily available means to survive, which makes them an easy target for law enforcers and mob justice. Their lives can be wiped out in a minute with no questions.
Wengine ni kukufa juu ya kulewa, wengine ni kupigwa. Unaona ile kuwekelewa makosa, amefanya kitu na hajafanya, wapata mraia inachukua action against him na inamjaji na baki wanamuua, aidha wanamdiscipline mpaka anakufa.
Na masafara wezetu wanatuacha, wanaitwa na Mungu.
Regardless of these challenges, they are focused on what they want.
Ndio nitoke hapa, tuseme kufunguliwa biashara aidha ya upishi ama ya sala, unaona. Ndio niweze kutoka kwa hii life nifike stage next yenye baadaye itakuja kunifikisha kwa dream yangu ya kuachieve music.
It's mid-afternoon at the Koinonia Community Center in Dagoretti South, Nairobi. A center that is now acting as a fountain of hope for hundreds of children rescued from the streets. Here we meet Ndegwa. Today he is leading his peers to rehearse for an upcoming talent show. His great mastery of the art could perhaps obfuscate his former life as a street urchin, a past he chooses not to forget.
Kwa street nimekaa for 3 years to 4 hapo. Na kitu ilituma niingie kwa kutumia drugs. Yani ni friends wapya. Unajua nimeshatoka nyumbani nimeingia street. Siwezi kaa peke yangu. Kuna ma friends nimepata huko. Hao ndio walianza kunifunza hizi mambo. Sasa unajua ukikaa na msee sana uone anafanya hiki kitu, pia yeye lazima utataka kuifanya ujue iko aje. So pia mimi nikajoin kwa hizo drugs, nikaanza kuzitumia mpaka zikaniaddict, yani singekaa bila hiyo drug.
Ironically, regardless of the tough life, the pull of the streets proved too strong for him.
Kuna venye unaweza kutoa mtu kwa street umpeleke shule mara moja, because lazima kwanza arekebishe ajue nini anataka. So pale kwa rescue unaona sana siku ya kwanza umeingia, bado kuna wale marafiki ulitoka nao street. So bado kuna ile bado mnachochana. Bado ile kiu ijaisha. Unasikia kuna kitu umemiss huko hivyo street. So ndio mnaanza kuchochana, sijui mnataka nini, huku ni kubaya what, ndio muende.
When he finally yielded, he found not just a home but a new lease of life.
Hii center imenipea vitu nyingi sana. Nimegain vitu nyingi sana zenye hata sikuwa najua. Ukiangalia hapa, hii ni group yangu ya acrobat. Mimi nachapanga acrobat na dance. Hizo vitu zote nimejulia huku na nikufunzwa. Arasa hii hata siamini kama mimi ni acrobat, sikuwa najua kitu. Ndio kuna mtu anazali yangu akijua. Hapa nimegain vitu nyingi sana. Nimesoma sasa hivi kuna vitu najua za sikuwa najua. Najua sasa nafaa kutengeneza future yangu, nisiangalie future mtu mwingine.
Ndegwa is a good example of the hidden gems in the streets, which often get wasted away due to lack of proper policies and interventions for rehabilitation of street families. In 2003, the government established the Street Families Rehabilitation Trust Fund, which was operationalized in 2019 with a vision to create a country that is free of street families. But several years later, this urban tragedy is proving to be a hard nut to crack, at least going by the surge, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. So why is the pull of the streets so strong? Father Renato Cesana is an Italian priest based in Kenya. He is the founder of the Koinonia Community Center, which runs several children homes and academic institutions. Here, the children get access to basic education, health, and nutrition, a pivotal seed of transformation.
Look at the children around you. Look at the children. Look at them. They only need help. Sometimes a little help. Because if we help them before they fall into that big hole that is the use of drugs and so on, we help them before that moment, we can really save time for ourselves and for them. We can save their lives.
So what exactly is the best approach of realizing a street family-free country?
For you to see that child in the street, something ought to have happened within the family. So there's this reintegration and the issue to deal with the financial issues, the economic situation within the family needed to be dealt with before we end to the street.
Lakini mimi naweza penda kwa sana nikirudi home mtu asinichukie. Juu si kupenda kwangu. Najua kila mtu anakuanga na maisha yake. Kila mtu anakuanga na life yake, tuseme hivyo. Sisi tunaweza kuambia God ablessiwe sana. Juu tuko hapa, tuko uhai sana. Watu wanatutukananga, watu wataongea vibaya, lakini hatufurahi.
Realizing a street families-free country is a burden that the government alone cannot carry. It calls for collaborative efforts by multilateral actors who not only need to invest in improving the living conditions of street families, but also focus on preventive measures to curb the surge.
All right. Oh, all right. Sawa, we are on air. All right, welcome to the program. It's a cold Wednesday morning. Yeah, but nonetheless, we have got some hot show lined up for you from now until the end of the program. Welcome. My name is Victor Lowe, and right now on air is The Viewpoint. With me in studio, Kevin Katisia, who is an advocate of the High Court. Yes, there you have him. Kevin Katisia, good morning.
Yes. Thank you, Victor.
And with me in studio, I have got Nobat Odul, who is an international relations and diplomacy student, who is also enthusiastic about politics, security, research, and sustainable development. He was also a delegate of Youth Lead Africa Summit 2021 in Arusha, Tanzania. That is huge, man. How are you, Robert?
I'm very fine. How about you?
All these, I'm doing well. All these details about you, fine. You tell us more about this as well. And finally, we have got Dr. Rotich, who is also here with us. He's an economist, but I usually say with a lot of bias in politics. Karibu sana daktari.
Thank you so much.
Gentlemen, we have to get the show on the road. First of all, let me start by asking you this question, Nobat, now that the new kid in the block. There was that video of that lady who was being raped in my home county of Homa Bay. What do you make of that video? And of course, right now I hear that there is a case already, which was lodged by Counsel Steve Ogola, who said that he will actually stand in for the lady, and some kind of legal proceedings will be taken against the three gentlemen. What do you make of that?
I do think personally it's even if it's quote-unquote culture in terms of, because they were saying those are some cultural aspects were being broken by the lady. I'd feel it's quite uncouth to just start lashing an old woman or an old lady of that age. And someone actually was taking a video of it, which is quite justifiable because it came to the limelight. But now I think that is wrong in my own perspective. I think there are better ways to solve whatever dispute was between them.
Yes.
Yes.
And what about you, Kevin?
Yes, I agree with my brother here on the same. However, it all depends on how that lady will respond to it, because you know, in some cultures, people even consent to them being given such punishment.
Yes.
Yeah, because where I come from, like in Ukambani, for example, there used to be those cultural sessions whereby if somebody goes against the clan, then he is punished that way. So the question is, did she consent to that? And number two, if she says she was against all that, I think the law must take its course.
Yes.
And my learned friend Ogola is justified to go to court and fight for her rights, because that is assault.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no way you can justify assault. It is assault, regardless of the reasons. Yes.
But you see, when you talk of culture, you say that in Ukambani, that was way back in the days.
Yes,
you see, it was in a systematic manner. Either you are being given all 6 strokes, 5, 7, depending on what Wazee would decide and say, because this is the mistake that you've done, so we are going to give you 10.
Yes,
and that was it.
It was like that, actually. Yeah. It was actually, there were rules, and there were those people whose the mandate was to now
minister that.
Exactly.
Yes.
But now what happened there, I think it was just being done without any particular structure. And I think, of course, we have to appreciate that those cultures have been overtaken by events.
Yes.
Yeah. And as much as we want to introduce them and also live by them, we must also be alive to the current legal channels. Because in my opinion, whatever happened to that lady, even if she said she consents, then she has a family who can say, no, we are going to take these people to court. So I think we have to be careful. As much as we appreciate culture, we have to be alive to the legal channels which are currently available.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, that was a clear assault. If you watch the video,
I think although we have the law and order in this country, and the constitution is there to guide or guard everybody. So whatever happened, it was quite illegal. Well, whether you'll accept as a taboo or something, a cultural practice, that is, it cannot be condoned in such a, in a civilized world like now. Where, the law is very, very clear, and the rights of every individual must be protected. Where some individual feels that they have a right over others just because of the traditional background, or that cannot be acceptable. So the law is an equalizer.
All right. So just to put in perspective, the 3 gentlemen are here. All right, and they're in police custody as we speak. I think this is a mug shot by the police. Once they were arrested, we have got one of them, Lukio Okwiri, we have got Enos Odhiambo, and lastly, Dedan Kimathi. The 3 are right now in police custody. There you have it. Shame on you. Okay, and by the way, it was not cultural. It wasn't cultural. The story says that they accused the lady of removing her underpants when she was going to protect her son, who was being, there was a fight between the son, the daughter, so the Wazee came in, so it wasn't cultural per se. So, the gentlemen, then the law take its own course. Now, moving to what we have today, nominations are still happening, and we've seen many people falling by the wayside that we never expected. Dr. Did you expect the bigwigs, so to speak, not to make a comeback?
I think, if you can remember the discussion that we had last week.
Yes.
And I told you very categorically, let me talk on what we witnessed in the areas that the UDA actually did. And I told you very, very practically that there are no secret or sacred cows in UDA. And you witness what really happened, because no one was protected by any above men or women. What transpired on the ground, is a decision that the Kenyans did based on the kind of democratic space that they were given. And to me, it was one of the best nominations I've ever had. I witnessed personally. I was on the ground in Kericho County, And we had very senior fellows of the persons of Charles Keter.
Even Kericho shocked many.
Yes, it shocked many. We have had a number of MPs. MPs are Inamo Silvanas.
Yes.
MP Kigowet Soin, Gipsengeret Koros. MP Kiburete, Mr. Kiptargech. All these guys were thrown by young and energetic fellows. So in this case, it shows that the nomination exercise was done according to the law. Me, I witnessed a lot of peace that I've never seen it before. And many of you people were expecting big names to come back. You go to the Wasingishu, huge names was drawn out. You talk about Pomet, where we have a young girl at the age of 24,
yes,
being now the women rep of Pomet County. That tells you how, the extent at which democracy can go.
Yes.
And that, although, even while, of course, we have witnessed some hiccups here and there, of course, it is very normal. I also told you last time that we are still a growing democracy. And even the management of these elections are still wanting. Because the people who are managing are the same people who are not well trained. And whatever hiccups that came across, of course, we also expected. But I believe more than 60-70% was done, and it was done rightfully. Yes, we have had those who are now thinking about rushing to be independent candidates. They are claiming that they were, but these are mishaps that some of these fellows are not willing to accept. And the reason behind this, although the register that was used was the IEBC register of 2017. Those who voted in 2017. Were able to vote in the ongoing nomination, because the register comes, is the one that is being used is the 2017 one. Now, when we are heading to the general election, we shall be using a whole register up to the latest. That means there are a lot of people who are locked out in the whole process. So what these independent candidates are banking on is actually the number of people, or those number of people who never voted because of the register. That was only to the limit of 2017. And there are those who won by 1,000 margin, 2,000 margin, and I still find that one very risky, although especially for those who will go to the independent, and maybe you will come back, because there are those people who never voted and they will have a chance come the general election.
Talk of 1,000 in Naivasha, Jen Kihara had a difference of 2 votes.
Yeah, so these are some of we are in fact let me tell you,
a vote is a vote, whether it is one vote.
If these people will be allowed to go to the independent to contest under independent, things may also change, because I feel there are a number of people who never had a chance to vote because of the limitation of the register that only limits to the 2017 general election.
Absolutely. No, but let me get your opening remarks.
I think, first of all, it's a new dawn. Yes. It's a new dawn to the bigwigs. For me, it sends a message that one is the youth are really willing to step into the political space. Number two, track record is very important. Because we're seeing people like the so-called Keter, they're involved in majority of graft issues. I think now it's high time that track records speak. Number two, the scorecard you have on the public. I think for me that is what is making the bigwigs to fall. And now it's a new dawn. So we need to reflect that to now in the national level, in terms of the presidency, the governorship, and all positions across.
Okay. And Katisia, you know, when all this started, people said that it was an automatic kind of a sail-through for all the bigwigs.
Yes.
That's a shocker.
It is. And I think this is democracy doing its job.
Yes.
Because you see some of these old politicians, they have the perception that they have been there, they know the system, and they will be able to sail through smoothly. And especially those who participated in forming these major political parties. If you look at UDA, for example, and what happened, I think many of them assumed that they have all along been friends of the party leader of UDA, and they knew they will sail through.
They've been there for long.
Yes, they've been there for long, and they were shocked because some of them have detached themselves from the ground. Some of them have, after occupying those high offices, they have lost touch with the people on the ground.
Yes,
and I think it was a lesson to these bigwigs, because even if you look at, for example, ODM, for example, and you saw the nominations which happened between Otuoma and Florence Mutua, for example, you know, the women rep assumed that she has been in the party all along. There were all those manner of assumptions, and I think it is a lesson, and all political parties must encourage that kind of democracy. Because what many parties are doing now, this they are calling consensus or negotiated democracy. I think it is denying the people on the ground a chance to elect their own people. Because if these parties are saying that they will rely on scientific polls or maybe what they hear from their people on the ground, I think they are being unfair to the people, to the grassroots people. And Victor, be assured that those people who participated in those nominations and they won fairly, chances are those are the people who are wanted by the people at the ground. Yes. And chances are they will carry the day even in the general election. And now this idea of somebody like, if you look at the case of Susan Kihika, for example, right? Yeah, even though she has been able to sail through, she has been having issues with the main players in UDA. So it becomes a question of are these parties for the people or for the top players in the party? If you look at many parties, even Jubilee, you've seen how there has been chaos here in Nairobi, yeah, whereby the senior party officials are proposing a particular candidate. The people are saying no, let these people come to us and we nominate them. Yes. If you look at Mombasa, for example, yeah, of course the issue of Shabal and Nasri, and Shabal said, I'm not satisfied, I'm thinking of going for independent. So I think it's a matter of nominations are very critical in ensuring democracy in Kenya. But let's not forget that the Political Parties Amendment Act is very clear. And I've heard Daktari saying that for UDA, for example, the 2017 IBC register was used. So we ask ourselves, did UDA comply to the Political Parties Amendment Act? Because parties are supposed to use their party register when they are conducting nominations. Because let's be alive to the fact that an opponent from another party may come and vote in a weak candidate. Yes. So that they meet them at the main election and they defeat them. And that's why the Political Parties Act was very clear on the reason as to why the party's register should be used. So the question is, Victor, and be assured, you'll see very many cases being filed by those people who are defeated in those nominations. And we must be prepared for that. And of course, the IBC has given parties time.
The tribunals are actually on in their sittings right now because there's so many complaints coming up. Daktari, you know, when you talk of the party nominations and the big wigs falling by the wayside again, he's also talked about the issue of party register. We've seen the issue of consensus. When it all began, direct nomination was given to Shabal and Abdul Samad now have to square it out in Mombasa because there's that direct nomination. In Homa Bay it happened to Gladys Wanga. People were grieved by that. But then when you look at it, did we not see the flip side of the party leader trying to retain his strong members to the party? Because when you look at what happened to the UDA, they said, we are going to the people, let them go decide. Some of the strong people who were supposed to come back did not make it back. But when you look at the ODM side, they give those direct nominations and he still retained those strong people with him. Was it a miscalculation on the DP side?
I don't think...
Was he ever confident? Or even the candidates?
I think what you need to learn, Olo, what the DP was looking at was a huge disagreement in the event that the wrong people actually, if you impose leaders on the people. Democratically. That is why he was able to negotiate some of the areas. Talk of places like there are counties whereby he negotiated, like in Kakamega, whereby the guys were told, why did you step down for this one? And then in other places. But to me, I've been against the negotiation law. When you negotiate to give somebody a direct ticket, that in itself, you show some kind of partisanship or prejudice against the other. Look at what's happening with Ngatian and the other gentleman. Why Wanyonyi is saying he has gone far? He cannot retract back. He cannot refuse. He cannot step down for somebody for Ngatia. So in this case, the same thing happened in Homa Bay, where you see people disagreed almost openly with Right Honorable Raila Odinga because he seems to be favoring Wanga. I mean, against the other one. So why are we saying that, Olo? We want to allow democracy to take place. Because when you do that, you are telling the people that you have got all the powers to choose the people of the leaders of your interest. And even if you want yours, there should be a better way of assisting your candidate. If you want so and so, you finance or you do anything that can help. Yeah. But where you pronounce it openly, that also it will be in practice to the majority of the people. Take for example, you may not really tell what will happen in Homa Bay, my friend, because there are those who are supporting others away from Wanga. They are totally in disagreement with the right honorable Raila Odinga's suggestion that we support this lady. And these other places, look at the Wasingishu, what happened. Most of the big wigs are they are at home. Why? Is because His Excellency the Deputy President said no. You go back to the people. Go back to the people. Omba kura hawa watakupatia. In case they don't want, they will give another person. So what His Excellency, he has less problems, despite of the complaints and all this and that. Those who are complaining, they wanted backups from the His Excellency, the Deputy President. And I'm not saying that will hold water, because the people themselves...
It could be democracy. Yes. But somebody like Kositany, nobody expected Kositany to make it back.
It's true.
That's why I'm telling you, Olo.
It's democracy. The DP needs people like Kositany.
What is happening in UDA, my friend? There are those guys who were discouraged, like Keter of Nandi Hills. But he came back. It was not about a favor from an individual. It is about getting favor from the people. And that in itself, Olo, will go a long way in establishing a strong democracy. And even leadership.
I agree, but with all matters of calculation, you know, as a politician, you have been in the field.
There are those who believe, Olo,
you have been in the field.
There are those who believe
it's about interest.
That if they are not in the system, and nothing will go right. I mean, they have a feeling that they are entitled. They have a feeling that they are indispensable. But they are dispensable. We have leaders. I mean, those people who have been elected by the leaders, they will be groomed. Even if they don't have that kind of expansive experience, they will catch up along with the system, because these are leaders. So, although what happened in UDA and what's happening in some parts of the other areas of ODM, perfectly, I am for it. Let democracy prevail in all areas.
Okay. No, but young people came out and boom, you know, they're shining.
Yeah.
In fact, when you go to the MCA level, most of the MCAs have been sent home.
It's true.
What are we getting right or not getting wrong?
First of all, I think I'd go back to my first issue. It's a matter of scorecard. It's high time that, you know, the youth are being... They miss out on these opportunities most of the time. Two, the youth are being used in, you know, in this whole election process. The youth are being used. So it means now the youth have, you know, it's high time that we rise up to these positions. We want the things because, you know, we make 60% of the population in Kenya. So we want a position too. We want a share of that cake, so that we ourselves can help ourselves to become a better Kenya at large. So it's a matter of scorecard, because when you see even the big wigs, some of them, the big names in the country, they have done nothing. Look at Toto, the 24-year-old. She didn't have even funds to campaign, but she won. It's a matter of, you know,
selling
your idea and bringing change to the society that the big wigs per se have not.
Then it means that sometimes it's not about money. It's about how you resonate with the local.
It's true. It's true.
And in fact, that if we take an example of Toto, for example, her story is quite unique, so to speak. And she's making it to the history because, number one, she said that she didn't have money. In fact, at some point, some people were even offering her vehicles to campaign.
It's true.
You understand?
It's true.
So it's not about money. You be there as individual. Give us your clear manifesto and we'll vote for you.
That's very true, because I think, you know, it's a time of a shift in the ideology. Because most of the time we see most politicians use money to bribe and, you know, to get their way up there. But now it's a matter of ideology, because we're in the 21st century, it's 2022. Some places do not have even the basic necessities such as water, schools. So it's a matter of now, what is your thought on bringing change on the society? And that is what now the youth are stepping into. We see the likes of Toto. The other one in 2017, we saw John Murigi in Meru. Campaigning on, I think on a boda. Is a boda guy?
Actually, it was a bicycle.
Yeah, on a bicycle. So it's high time that the youth sell their idea to the public, and, you know, this is what I have to offer, this is what I bring to the table. Do you buy it or do not buy it? Because at the end of the day, we see people using finances. They're not
absolutely
people like, sorry to say this, Kina Kositany. The big wigs in UDA, we would expect them to be, you know, he's the right hand man of Dr. Ruto. But then what do we see? It's a matter of now, what idea do you have to sell to the people?
Yes.
Yes.
I know. All right. Dr. in the political arena. He knows the pain of losing an election.
Yes.
He knows. Katisia, when you see people like Kositai, number one.
Yes.
The likes of Mandago made a U-turn and said, you know what, my term is over as a governor, so back to the Senate.
Yes.
A calculated move.
Yes.
And perhaps, what should somebody say? Mandago, governor, you served just 2 terms. Thank you so much. Let somebody else come in. But this is politics. It's an open field. Were you supposed to see him off and say, go ahead, thank you?
I think politics, as you have said, is a matter of strategy. And you must calculate your moves. You must look at the reality. And I agree with my brother here that what you have done for the people is more important.
Yes.
And politics is a matter of convincing the people to put you in that position because they should believe that once you are there, you will fit and help them in the best way possible. And the Mandago, for example, and did not shy away a long time ago when the likes of Governor Mutua and Governor Kibwana were saying, you know, after even Governor Joho and Oparanya, when they were saying after governor, you should become president. And they all said they declared their bid for presidency. What happened later? They came and just some of them kept quiet. Others, like Makwene governor, said he will go for senator. Mutua is saying he wants to become Raila's running mate. Oparanya is quiet. But Mandago, from the word go, he said, I want to be realistic.
Yes.
That the seat I can get is that of Senate. And he started planning for that. Long time ago.
And you see, with the Senate doesn't have a term limit.
Exactly, and there's no term limit. So I think, in my opinion, Mandago is one of those few wise politicians. But now let's go to the issue which my brother has mentioned about looking at the youth factor.
Yes.
And nowadays, for you to win a seat, you must consider that the young people, as much as in the past they have been used to also cause all manner of chaos and also to assist in
and to push politicians.
Exactly. But now, young people are at the core of politics. Look at this parliament which is going home, for example. There are so many young parliamentarians. And believe you me, in the next parliament, there will be so many young parliamentarians. And actually, even those old politicians, those who are going for governor, many of them are considering young people as their running mates.
Yes.
Because the youth now are coming up in large numbers to vote. And actually, even on the issue of presidential running mates, apart from looking at the tribe where somebody is coming from, looking at gender, I may actually advise the presidential candidates for free that they should also consider the young people, because we constitute more than 60% of this population, and the young people have gone out.
That would look interesting.
Yes, exactly.
You can imagine Katise, the running mate. I'm just imagining.
Amen. Yes, because imagine young people from 35 and below, there are so many, and so many of them have taken the votes. They have gone out there and they have registered as voters. So I think it's, and for young people, as much as these old politicians think that young people are only there for the money, I think they have woken up. Because if you give me 1,000 today, I'll use it in the next 1 hour. But young people want something sustainable. Jobs. Talk of jobs.
Futuristic ideas.
Futuristic ideas. But these old politicians, Victor, are used to that idea of doing politics by giving handouts. Because that's what they have been doing. Giving handouts, giving fake promises. But you see now, Kenya, I think the level of literacy and elitism is very high. People are questioning what you are telling them. If you say you will construct a stadium, like you saw what the Jubilee administration, when they were doing their campaigns, they campaigned on those ideas. How many stadiums have been completed? I think young people are able to interrogate you. Elites are able to interrogate you. Is this realistic? is this possible?
Yeah.
Look at the debts which we have as a government. Yeah. And somebody now comes here and campaigns by saying, you know, when I take over, I'll do this and this. So many promises. And there are those key issues which are affecting Kenyans. Issues, those basic human needs. Look at the housing, for example, as one of the issues. Look at employment, yeah, security, yeah. And you know, when politicians are doing their politics by advancing ethnicity, tribalism, and all manner of negative politics, Kenyans are watching. And I think, Victor, as we go to 2022, 9th of August, you'll be shocked. Because even somebody who was not even popular, and you have seen this idea of independent candidates.
Yes.
Because some parties, to be honest, and what Dr. has said, want to have their people with them.
Yes.
Like ODM, for example. Look at what has happened in Kisumu. Where can you give the people a chance to choose their governor? Where are you forcing Governor Nyong'o, whom I respect very much, to the people? You have seen there's a large number of people who are opposed to that idea. Even the issue of Homa Bay, for example. So I think it's an idea that people must agree.
But Katisia, yes, legally speaking, it's provided for.
Yes, it is provided for.
It's a part of the process of getting the nominations done.
To reduce the complaints, my friend, you allow the people who are supposed to complain to do their job.
I'm saying it's an option.
It's an option, but
it's an option.
But Victor,
which any party, include the DP, negotiated democracy, it's there. You know, the universal suffrage that you're doing right now, happening currently, and direct nomination, is provided for.
It is, but if the other party is not convinced or does not agree with that consensus, that arrangement. Why can't you allow the people to choose their person? For example, the issue of Caleb Kozitani. Yes, he lost. Did you see him going to UDA appeals board or going to court? Maybe he's convinced that the process was fair. Even though he lost the nominations, he's convinced that it was fair. And he has said there are so many ways I can support the UDA party leader. So I think the idea of consensus is also being misused by some party officials. Look at, for example, the entrance of Igathe to the Nairobi gubernatorial race. And it is so clear, even you see it is being told that State House operatives have agreed that it has to be Igathe.
Which something will discuss.
Exactly. Yes. So I think there are some people, Victor, we must be alive to that. There are some people within the party who wants to push their agenda. And influence the party leader. Maybe the party leader is very innocent.
Okay.
Yes.
You know what? When you talk of influence and pushing,
yes.
Is it the same thing, Dr. Because every politician must have an interest. You have had that interest of being a politician and running for a political seat. But having your house in order is equally important. When you have those strong people behind you.
What we are saying, Olo, in areas where you see that there will not be any opposing whatever, you can do a negotiated kind of democracy.
Yes.
But you also have to read the mood of the people. You have to know what the expectations that the people have. People have actually proposed their own leaders. This is the leader that we want to have. And then, instead of now really negotiating with them fast, I don't want to see a situation whereby we have 2 people, 3 people negotiating. I want you to talk to the public. Let the public express their opinion as to among the 2 or 3 who have actually come up for contesting, who is more preferable. That is why I was also refusing the issues of pollsters, whereby you choose somebody because of an opinion which was also formed by people who may have also been influenced by others.
Imagine how chaotic it can get.
Yes, so now let me tell you.
When you go to the ground and have supporters in a hall and say, this are going, it can be chaotic.
But the best method, Olo, as I've always said, is that it is let the people go to an election. Let the people choose their own people. I mean, the negotiated democracy may not be very good because the perception that people have is that you prefer this candidate because of your interest. In this case, Olo, let me tell you, and I told you during our last election, and just let me repeat again, what I witnessed in the election, nomination that happened in UDA, there was no favoritism. There was nobody who was said, somebody from the head office has actually called that they need so and so. In Kericho, for example, the governor seat, it was contested by people who among these people were very powerful former government operatives.
Yes.
Took of the person of Charles Keter. He came with bomb and fire. I mean, you saw how he came with vehicles, overall, billboards everywhere. I never saw small pictures. I saw billboards being placed in every strategic position of the country. But that never count. You talk about the person who won by the name of Dr. Eric Mutai. This is a guy who came out from the university, a green fellow. But he sold his manifesto well. He agreed well with the people. He went round. Yes. He got the support from the public. Let me tell you, this is a guy who never gave out even a single coin to the public. Are you imagining? He's contesting for the position of governorship. And he was not dishing out money because he never had. People were actually contributing vehicles to make a convoy to look like this is a big fellow. But he made it. He's now the governor. Elected by the Kericho people. So it is not about money. It is about your manifesto. It is about your willingness and how you sell your agenda. So what happened everywhere, Banaulo, and you talk about the Nandi, you talk about the Wasingishu, you talk about all these places, even Pomet. Even though, of course, we are with the fellows who have actually gone for independent, we don't know what will happen.
Yeah.
But with a range of about 60,000 votes, because Eric Mutai in Kericho got 126,000, while the second strongest contender, who is also a long-serving person, of a position of over 20 years in experience in the civil service and in politics, got 60,000. Now, that can tell you that people are serious.
A difference of 6,000. When you go to appeals board.
You cannot. And of course, with a lot of lucratives that he was able to oil up the process. Yeah. But that never changed the mindset of the people of Kericho. That really tells you that Kenyans are maturing democratically.
Victor, on the matter of negotiations.
As you answer that, let me also put it this way. Perhaps the whole idea of I have money, okay, billboards, the way you're putting it, the 4x4s, we all know. A certain brand of vehicle which is commonly used in Kenya, all branded. But that is now changing. When you see a simple man, for example, the lecturer from university, straight to the ground and winning that election, that change of perception, that change of fresh air and giving ideas to the people is perhaps now what Kenyans are looking for. That is the way to go.
Yes, I'd agree with Daktari here. We are now maturing democratically because for the longest time we are seeing people who, a lot of experience in the civil service as well as in the political arena, a lot of experience, the same time a lot of promises that are empty. So I think where we are heading now into is a space where let's sit down on a round table. What do I have to offer? This is what I have to offer. I offer A, B, C, D. What about you? D, E, F, whatever. Then we see what is more practical, number one. Because I'll be honest to say we were promised over 10 stadiums in 2013 and 2017 as well. But now we are seeing the stadiums being constructed out of need because the president needs to go to Kirinyaga, he needs to go to Kisumu and elsewhere. So it's a matter of now an idea. Ideology. That is where we are moving into. Apart from money, money is also important to facilitate, movements and all that, mobilization and all that. But at the same time, we are shifting from that to ideology. Let people come to you because of what you have to say. And now that is, for the longest time, we're seeing, the only person I have seen in my lifetime that would bring people out of the ideologies they have. It's only Mr. Raila Odinga. No one else. Then two, in a matter of negotiations, as negotiative democracy, it's also important because one, we also have to further party ideologies. We have political parties, and these are vehicles towards achieving political ends. So therefore, we mean that it is also important that we consider negotiative democracy also becoming important. In this sense, one, from the party's position, who is the best person to further our ideology? Number two, we are seeing, I think Daktari directed this to the Azimio group. It is important we consider negotiations. At the end of the day, if we elect, we negotiate person A from person B. Person A, what will person A bring to the basket? The number of votes they will bring. Aside from choosing person B, he might be the people's sweetheart, yes. but is he realistic in carrying out the party policies? Will he, when going to the floor of the House, conduct and sell through party interests and further party interests? So for me, I think negotiations is necessary, but it's not a matter of imposition of a candidate to the people.
All right.
Yeah.
So, you know what, Katisia? Because there's something here.
Yes.
There is now change of tack. In the US, it's about ideology.
Yes.
Hakuna kupanga laini na nikupatie wanasema at 1,000 bob is for one person. Hakuna kugawa. Some people say 1,000 bob is for one person and you go.
Yes.
In mature democracy, it's about ideologies. People sit down in a town hall.
Yes.
Give me your ideologies. Give me your manifesto. You have got technocrats right behind you. We have got think tanks right behind you. And you tell me this is what you're going to do. And that's exactly the footprints that people will follow once they vote you in. Those are the footprints you will leave behind. And people will follow as they look at your work and say, this is what you promised and this is what you've so far achieved.
Yes.
Are we getting there as a country?
I think we are trying. As a country, we are trying, to be honest. Because if you look at the kind of leaders who have even been elected in 2017, I think people who are looking at the ideology. And I think Dr. can agree with me, even how Uhuru and Ruto were even elected in the first place in 2013 and 2017.
Yes.
People who are looking at what they were telling Kenyans. To be honest, Victor, those two gentlemen and their party, they had very, very good ideas, which they shared to the Kenyans. And Kenyans bought those ideas. In 2013, they sold so many ideas, and they also tried to achieve some of them. That's why Kenyans in 2017 re-elected them. Remember, in 2013, Raila was a prime minister.
Yes.
And Honorable Kalonzo was a vice president. They had big positions. Uhuru was a deputy prime minister. Ruto was just a minister. And they sold ideas to Kenyans, and the Kenyans bought the ideas. Now looking at 2022, and looking at what Kenyans want good ideas. What will you do for us? I was actually amazed to see residents of Lavington interviewing MCA aspirants. They are going to those town halls and conducting a proper interview. For an MCA, because an MCA is very important in a ward. Actually, the most people normally say the most important person in a particular area is an MCA, an MP, and a governor, because those are the people who are on the ground. The ideas of the people are streamed to now the top level, where the president is, from these people at the grassroots. So I think as a country, we are trying, but now the old political bigwigs, I think they also need to be alive to the fact that politics in Kenya is changing. There's somebody who has been in politics for 30 years, and they want to apply the same ideology which they applied 30 years ago. Now it is not possible. And that's why you see so many of these successful politicians, they always have a team of strategists and technocrats who advise them on what to say, on what to do, what to tell the people, because the issue of having somebody who can deliver is very important. Let's not also forget that a party needs somebody who can defend it. But how can a party also be properly defended if it has lesser numbers in the house? So I think as a country, we are trying. There are all manner of factors which are interfering with our democracy, like tribalism. Because if you look at, for example, the issue of running mate, and I must go back there again, Victor, the main factor which is being considered is which tribe do you come from? You see Mount Kenya saying, in Azimia, they are saying, we must produce the presidential candidate. Even in UDA, Mount Kenya have said we must produce the presidential candidate. Tribalism, which is actually affecting democracy.
Let's take a break.
Yes.
But when we come back, close allies of Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka have accused President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga of betrayal. The Wiper leaders, mainly from Ukambani, insist Uhuru and Raila are reneging on a shrouded deal that makes Kalonzo an automatic Azimio second in command. Details when we come back after this break.
much about your son. He's so timid. He wouldn't do anything desperate.
What are you trying to say, huh? Stop playing the sad card in front of me. What you did is unforgivable. You didn't even get half of what you deserve.
I heard it with my own ears. The woman who looks like Pinky was calling Mrs. Gao Mom.
Ah, come on. You must have gotten it wrong. That's impossible.
What I lost was more than my daughter and a piece of land. It's also my 30 years of life.
Chagua kati ya kakangu na mpenzi wangu. Mom, are you really okay?
There's nothing you can say to change what I feel.
Sijakuja hapa kwa kuwa nimekumiss. Naona utazipata hizo tabu sana.
Achana kujipendekeza kwa mume wangu.
Umemaliza? Oh, okay.
Jimmy Havoc, you and old Mentor, we've been dancing a long damn time now. You beat me, I beat you.
Heart Foundation. Very, very impressive.
There are only two choices in this match are to get knocked out or to tap.
Rolls into the ring. Oh! Puma King, Irish whip stopped. Taken down. Right to the temple. And a headbutt than we expected. Oh my God! Nobody home on the moonsault.
And welcome back, Dr. Yes, Endelea, you are talking about the issue of running mate. Welcome back, you are still on the show. This is The Viewpoint. Let's talk about the issue of Kalonzo Musyoka saying that he has been betrayed by Uhuru and Raila team. Just take it away, Doctor.
I think before we go blaming people, look at Kalonzo Musyoka in his own eyes. When he claims that the agreement that they signed, along with Right Honorable Raila Odinga,
yes,
and His Excellency the President, contained the position that he was going to be given a direct ticket to be the running mate of Right Honorable Raila Odinga. That in itself, is quite betraying. The word itself is betraying. That he was told, he signed, and sometimes these people are saying they were not clear of what they signed. And there was a small clause that would have enabled Kalonzo to have a direct being nominated as the running mate of Right Honorable Raila Odinga.
Yes.
But in this case, I think the problem is bigger than that. look at the utterances of Charity Ngilu, Mutua, Kibwana. When Kalonzo decided to come to join Raila Odinga, they were not happy. They came up with all the claims and everything. And even when you saw these women caucus that they met, Ngilu herself was in record saying, proposing Martha Karua to go for the slot. Now, what does that mean? Ngilu comes from the backyard of Kalonzo Musyoka, and Kalonzo Musyoka seems to be fighting as a lone ranger. He is not with the rest of the people from Ukambani.
Is he a lone ranger?
He could be a lone ranger because who else is he with? The only person whom I've heard of is Kalonzo Jr. He's actually supporting him. Who else? And if that is an indication to go by, it means that even Right Honorable Raila Odinga is already having a strong support.
Yes.
From the major part of the main people in Ukambani. Talk of Mutua, talk of Kibwana, talk of Charity Ngilu, and then who else? So what I'm saying, I think this issue of running mate should be left open. I know negotiations could be taking place behind the scene. That is very good. I just entertain that. But in this case, what we should be having in our minds, Olo, is that when we talk about the running mate, what is she or he bringing on board? Is it adding value to the race of the His Excellency, the president? So when I'm talking about the president, I mean talk about Right Honorable Raila Odinga. If we say today Kalonzo is going to be his running mate, is Kalonzo going to add value in the number of votes that he's going to get? Now, when if he will in any way decide that he will have Martha Karua, how many followers will, how many or what value would Martha Karua bring on board? So those are some of the things that we must consider. I mean, we are not in a beauty contest. We are after adding value to the main person whom we are actually contesting with.
Yes.
So whoever you are going to have as a running mate must bring on board majority of those whom you need to to enable you to win in the presidential race. That is the bottom line.
No, but
yes,
your point.
Now,
betrayal in the city, betrayal in the parties.
Do I really call it betrayal? No, I think it's a matter of just consideration. Because one, whatever they signed, he says that he claims, let me call allegations, that they signed, he was supposed to be given a direct ticket for the DP position. What we as the people, or we, members of the
such an
group,
agreement?
One, is there such an agreement? I don't know. That is what he claims. Two, is there, we don't know the clauses that were there in that whatever they signed.
Yes.
So number two, that does not give him a direct ticket to that. Then we must consider his entrance point to Azimio Group. Because as you're seeing, it happened as if he was being tuned to enter into Azimio. But it took a very long time. And he was amongst those people who, pointing fingers to, he's saying that I will not join Azimio Group if not until certain needs are met for me. Which is quite, I think it's quite, let me say, it will take some bit of time for that to be considered, because at the end of the day, we bring also the aspect of value. What value does he have? Because we are speaking here, it's a matter of grooming Raila Odinga as the president.
Yes.
That is the end goal. That is our main primary goal, making Raila Odinga the president. The votes that he comes with, does he have votes? Does he have numbers? Does he have numbers? Because we are seeing even, his own people, the likes of Ngilu, Mutua, and Kivutha Kibwana, they are controlling the Ukambani region. If they say, Ukambani to go west, the Ukambani will go. So he only has the likes of Kina Malombe, the likes of Mutula Kilonzo Jr., who might not quite be very vocal in terms of bringing value to the table. Number three, let's consider the gender issue, the gender aspect of it. Because now where we're moving at, we don't want a scenario where we are having to give certain tickets to, as freebies.
Yes.
So that to fulfill the gender aspect in this contest. So let's consider that. So for me, it's not betrayal, it's a matter of just consideration of who brings value to the table at the end of the day.
It's saying it's all about betrayal now.
That is his words, but for me, no. It's not betrayal. It's a matter of consideration.
What do you think about this, Katisia?
Victor, thank you, and I've keenly listened to my senior Daktari and my brother Norbert.
Yes.
And clearly I can see where...
Is Kalonzo being betrayed?
In my opinion, Victor, of course, this is not Kalonzo speaking. This is his people, his lieutenants, his followers, who are saying, our party leader is being betrayed. You haven't heard him anywhere say that I'm being betrayed. He has always insisted that himself, Raila and Uhuru are at the table discussing how to structure and form the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya government. And this issue of running mate is very emotive to very many people. And it's also very critical into determining who becomes the next president of the Republic of Kenya. The same issue is also affecting Kenya Kwanza, for example. But now, since we are discussing Kalonzo, and I think I've heard my colleagues talking about what value does the running mate bring to the table.
Absolutely.
That's the most important thing. Actually, don't look at where somebody comes from.
Yes.
Don't look at, of course it's good to consider gender, but look at the value. Look at, for example, the top contenders for Azimio running mate is Mheshimiwa Kalonzo and Mheshimiwa Martha Karua. Yeah? Look at the value they'll bring to Azimio. How many votes will Kalonzo bring to Azimio? How many votes will Martha Karua bring to Azimio? Remember, even in the structure of Azimio, we see President Uhuru Kenyatta being the chair. It is assumed that apart from being the president, he is representing Mount Kenya.
Yes.
As the chair.
All right.
We see Raila as the party leader. Of course, he has his larger following from Nyanza. Yeah, we see Honorable Kalonzo, who is still the leader of Oka, coming to the table, and of course,
is One Kenya Alliance discreet right now?
One Kenya Alliance is still in existence in the hearts of the principles of One Kenya,
but not in Azimio.
That's why we have Azimio La Umoja One Kenya coalition. It is now part of Azimio.
Okay.
It is part of Azimio, so it is in existence within Azimio. Even Azimio is in existence within Azimio La Umoja One Kenya. There is now one thing. They merged. So One Kenya is still in existence. And remember, even when it came to the issue of the Azimio Secretariat coming up with another council, yeah, the one which was deposited to register political parties, they changed. You saw One Kenya Alliance writing to the register of political parties and also to the Azimio Secretariat. So, Victor, what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that Kalonzo is a key factor in Azimio La Umoja One Kenya. Is a key factor because
this sounds like double speak, because when Kalonzo was in Kambani with Honorable Raila Odinga, he said, I am with my brother Raila Odinga to the wire. Whichever position I'll be given, I'm okay with that.
I am getting there.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, Victor.
Here we have got his lieutenant, Mutula Kilonzo Jr., saying that there's a betrayal in the party.
Yes. Victor, I was trying to build my case, but I'm getting there. I am getting there. You know, if you look at the composition of Azimio La Umoja One Kenya,
just kicked in.
Yes.
Build your case.
Yeah. And if you look at all these 28, now I think there are 28 constituent parties to Azimio La Umoja One Kenya Alliance. And of course, let's be alive to what is happening in Ukambani, for example. Yeah, we are seeing the 3 governors who are openly against Kalonzo Musyoka. Politics is about interest. They have their own interest. Of course, Charity Ngilu knows if Kalonzo Musyoka is the Azimio La Umoja One Kenya running mate, he will have the political muscle living in his own Kitui backyard to make sure that all the leaders in Kitui, including the governor, are from Wiper. So if he is not, she still thinks she has a chance of becoming a governor of Kitui. We see Professor Kivoda Kibwana, who wants to become the senator of Makueni. He knows for sure if Wiper is there as number 2 in the structure, Honorable Manzo will take the seat. So he has to weaken Wiper by whatever means. And you know, you weaken a party by weakening the party leader. But I've heard Noba talking about the 3 governors fully controlling the Rio Kampani County. That is not true. Even there's a reason why Raila and Uhuru had to convince Kalonzo to join them. Remember, One Kenya was also very determined to go to the ballot. We saw the sacrifice by Honorable Kalonzo. I think it's also high time that instead of the ODM and also these other parties who are opposed to Kalonzo attacking him, let them also see the value he's bringing to the party. He's a top diplomat. Yeah. He also has his own political strong voter base. More than 2 million votes is not a joke.
Then why are we not seeing Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka coming out openly and telling his foot soldiers, hold on, this is the agreement you have? Why is he speaking through Mutula Kilonzo? It's Mutula Kilonzo Jr. who is speaking. Let me ask this Dr. this one. I know you'll not.
I
will certainly respond after him.
I think let me tell you, although it is not wrong for Mutula Kilonzo Jr. to talk on behalf of the Wiper Party. Because he's a very strong, he's a powerful man.
Is there something that you don't know about this agreement?
He's a legal expert.
Right.
And he knows what he's doing. And let me tell you, if you have ever studied the politics of Mutula, this junior, he's a shrewd man. He's somebody who is very particular in his aspiration. And he doesn't lie. I've followed his utterance in most places. This is a guy who speaks the truth, always. So by speaking on behalf of Kalonzo Musyoka, I think
there might be some
he's better placed. And even let me tell you, he's briefed to all these agreements. Kalonzo never did it alone. Even though they are saying there were 3, His Excellency the President, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, and Kalonzo Musyoka. I mean, this junior knows very well what was signed. And that is why he was somehow jittery at some point. But in this case, in this case, for the senator to speak on behalf of the Waiba, and not, Kalonzo, I think he's rightly placed to do so. He's a legal expert. And let me tell you, as my brother said about the numbers that Kalonzo will come with, we are also comparing. You see, when you talk about those who are seated at the table, you talk about His Excellency the President, and you talk about the Mother Garo. His Excellency the President now is playing passive politics. He's not active because he's actually on exit. Now the person who is now anticipated to play very active politics, even she will ever become the deputy, the running mate of His Excellency, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, is Mother Garua. But the question that we are holding today, as my brother said, what is she coming up with? How many people is she coming up with that will make or rather enable Right Honorable Raila Odinga to win the next election? So that is a basic question that we must ask. Because if Kalonzo is holding up the key to Raila's success, the same deputy president will still go back to Kalonzo Musyoka. Those are some of the mathematics that these people must calculate. But you know, Olo, again, you must know that His Excellency, the Deputy President, has also penetrated quite deep into Ukambani. And we are expecting more than half of the total votes of Ukambani going to UDA. So that is basically what I'm almost convinced. So in this case, as much as my brother is talking about pushing Kalonzo to become the Deputy President, but of course, we must know that the backlog of Ukambani people are with the Deputy President.
Victor, if I may briefly respond.
but Ukambani is 3 quarters in UDA. It's about politics, and you know the people who will determine are the voters here.
That's true.
You know what happened? When you talk of betrayal, first of all, Kalonzo Musyoka, you said, took his sweet time to join Azimio.
It's true.
Perhaps it was just a ploy, delaying tactic. But later on he said, you know what, whatever I signed, I don't know what I signed. Then why that long time for him to join?
Okay, I think now he was trying to get a footing on where his interest will lie mostly, where he will have some bit of weight in changing, in benefiting politically. But at the same time, it's so sad to see a senior counsel say that he doesn't know what he signed. You know, as we know, Kalonzo Musyoka is a legal, legal practitioner, expert. So it's so sad for him to say that. However, I think by him, using the time he took as a ploy, I think that is where the train left him. Because we'll see Oka shaping up very fast, Azimio also shaping up, thinking of how can we come up together, how can we come together. By the time he's coming in, the train is far gone. So I think by this time he has some feeling of entitlement because he thinks that he controls some bit of Ukambani, which I take a different opinion. So for me, I think the train left him.
The train left him?
Yes.
Katisi is not happy about that sentiment.
Yes, I am not. And with all due respect, Norbert and Daktari,
Katisi is not amused.
We must be realistic.
But you have a next stage. We can still wait. We can still wait for him. Bored.
We have to be realistic, Norbert and Daktari. And also know the dynamics of Kenyan politics. And to be honest, when people are politicizing some issues, like the issue of whether Kalonzo knew what he was signing.
Yes.
And I think people have deliberately decided to take him out of context for political reasons. Because I was there when he was making those statements.
Where?
In an event in Sekuru, where he was launching a chapel. And he said, actually that was a day after signing the agreement. He said some people, some people, even his own Secretary General, because of the time, the little time which was there, were not even aware what they were signing. Some people were not even aware what they were signing. Him, of course, himself, Honorable Raila and President Uhuru, the three of them knew the document which they took to the SGs to sign. Even Sifuna himself, the SG ODM, he did not know what he was signing. But of course, he trusted his party leader that this document is good. And he signed. So people have decided to take him out of context politically, but it's okay. But the issue of whether he's not able to bring numbers to Azimio, if for sure, and as a Kenyan, who comes from Kitui and I have a vote. If for sure Azimio thinks Kalonzo will not bring anything to the table, let them tell him to go, and he will go. Some rude ODM and other people are rudely telling Kalonzo, no, you have no other option. You can't go anywhere. People should know that this is politics. And Kalonzo has an option. Whether they give him, and of course the issue of running mate himself, he even said that he sacrificed to support Raila to make sure that Raila becomes the president, because according to him, he thinks Raila will make a better president than William Ruto. He sacrificed.
What if he doesn't get that seat?
I think,
yes.
Let me say something.
Let me answer that question because it has
let me answer before you. I think what I'm foreseeing, Olo, about the lack of decision by the Kalonzo himself. I believe he knows what he's saying. I don't want to believe the fact that
this is just
he knows what is happening. But what is actually worrying me, Olo, if you know what you sign, because he has also bear witness that he was not all alone. He signed that in the presence of His Excellency the President. He signed also in the presence of Right Honourable Raila Odinga. And if he is actually convinced that he signed the same thing, why is he worried? Why all these shenanigans up and down as if things never worked according to the agreement that they signed? Why is it? Why? I mean, because I'm becoming a little bit uncomfortable, because the people who signed the agreement are very, very senior citizens of this country. You talk of His Excellency the President, you talk about Right Honourable Raila Odinga, and then the whole thing was actually deposited at the registrar of parties of the agreement that they agreed. Now, why is he worried that that thing may not be considered? Why is he worried? Number two, let me also ask you. Because there are these things. I think I'm saying Alonso, he must be very right. He must be very right. Because of what is actually happening or transpiring in the boardrooms, these people are discussing about a different person altogether. That is why they are floating somebody like Martha Karua, who is also equal to the task. I have no problem with
her.
They
have representatives in these boardrooms.
Of course.
Yes.
And that is what is causing a lot of
We have got minutes taken in each and every boardroom. They have got minutes.
Now you are asking a question.
Yes.
In the event that Kalonzo will not be rewarded as promised, what will happen?
That's the question.
That's the question I was trying to answer.
And that, the possible answer, Olo, is this.
Yes.
His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka, if the agreement will be dishonored.
You see, time is running out.
Rightly,
time is running out for them to name their running.
I'm foreseeing a situation where you will go direct and back the deputy presidency. Even in any position that he has. He will not now demand, he will not keep conditions the way he's giving conditions to Azimio. He will say, yes, because of my disagreement, my displeasure about these people dishonoring the agreement, I will totally support His Excellency the Deputy President for the position of presidency. That is definitely what is going on.
There's one thing that you're really forgetting here.
Yes, no, but I'll come to you, Katisia.
There's one thing that you're really forgetting as to why time is being taken. And for him calling all this betrayal, the central factor.
What about central factor?
As we're seeing right now, we are seeing that Central to some point is a bit divided. They don't have, a strong person to control that backyard. So this is one of the factors
that is making... The president said that he's still the man to watch.
I think that is words.
Central is not divided. They are only supporting, His Excellency the Deputy President. They are not divided.
It is divided.
Yeah, they are not.
It is divided. For me, I think it's divided because we are seeing why are we seeing situations, the likes of Kina Deritu Murithi backing up Honorable Raila Odinga publicly. So this factor, that the central factor, is what is, I think, taking time for at least the Azimio group, the Azimio Oka group, to decide on who to take out for the position. Because we must also consider Central is one of the biggest voting blocks in this country. So that is also a factor to this. So it must be considered in this debate. So that is why time is running out, 9 days left for them to mention. But this factor must be considered.
The factor might be considered. Remember, the president is the patron of the Azimio Oka team, all right?
Yes.
So whichever way, so to speak, they are covered. Mount Kenya is still covered.
Yes,
because the winning team is still in government and the patron is now
That is not true. That is not true.
But
That is not true. The president is going home. That is why I was saying he's a passive. His participation is passive, not active, because he's not contesting. So he's only giving the direction. So in this case, the next government must be formed by somebody else other than His Excellency the President himself.
I disagree.
So if now, if you
being a patron of a overruling party,
if they will succeed in bringing people like Mother Karua on board,
government.
If they succeed by bringing people like Mother Karua,
yes.
Mother Karua is going to be an active politician because being a running mate of the president, of course that one she will be the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. So in that case, I call that one active politics in the mainstream.
Yes.
So when you look at the president who is now retiring, or rather his tenure is gone, he's only giving, is maiding, to give the direction of where the next government will be. That is his aspiration, which can either be accepted or rejected by the public.
Yes,
So in that case, those options are open. But in this case, what my friend is saying about Kalonzo is actually from the ground. He's saying Kalonzo has the majority of the people behind him. I don't know, but why Ngilu is jittery, why Mutua is jittery, and Mutgifuta Gibwana about the coming up of Kalonzo Musyoka as the deputy president, I don't know. We don't know. We are yet to know. But of course, it would qualify the fact that my brother is saying they are divided. So Mount Kenya is not divided, but Ukambani is divided. I think my brother can prove that.
Victor,
you have got a lot of time.
And give me some extra time to respond to these issues. And there are three issues I'll respond to.
Starting
issue
right
number
now.
one
Yes.
is why is Kalonzo worried? And issue number two, what will happen if he is not given the running mate position? And of course, issue number three, the issue of President Uhuru Kenyatta, whether he's in active or passive politics. Why is Kalonzo worried? When you are entering into an agreement, and especially a political agreement, you enter into such an agreement with a lot of expecting good faith from the other parties in that agreement. When Kalonzo was entering into this Azimio One Kenya coalition agreement,
yes,
he entered in good faith, believing that Raila and his people, President Uhuru Kenyatta and his people, are also entering into this agreement in good faith. What happened a few days later? The agreement, which was deposited with the registered political parties, was amended and another one was deposited, whereby the number of even the positions which were given for the council members were changed. Yeah, there are people who did that without his knowledge. Yeah, let's also bear in mind that the top players in Azimio One Kenya.
Do we have evidence to that?
Of course, there's evidence to that, Victor, and you have seen it being spoken by all these various political players. You also saw Tuju himself responding to that. Yeah, the top players in Azimio One Kenya are people aligned to Raila and those aligned to President Uhuru Kenyatta. You see, they have also formed another group which will now determine who is the running mate.
Yes.
Of course, you see names. If you talk of Jeremiah Kioni, you see of Kenya, you look at the other side, you see Raila's people. And Kalonzo, remember, he was, by changing the name itself, Azimio One Kenya, it means you are having Azimio, the way it was before, with Raila and Uhuru, then there is One Kenya, with Kalonzo and his team. Yeah. Of course, he is worried because why are the few basic issues which they have agreed upon being amended without him being involved? Remember, Victor.
What are some of these issues which are amended?
Of course, the structure of the coalition, of the coalition party. Yeah, the members of the coalition party. After the three Ukambani governors, of course, they managed to also get the team of the other affiliate parties to Azimio. They said, this is not the three-legged stool. These are four-legged table. Stool. Table, actually, because it's four-legged. And of course, they were the likes of Mutua and Kibwana and Ngilu were complaining that they felt they have been sidelined by the entrance of Kalonzo. So they were playing politics. And of course, they even issued the ultimatums. And I'm sure Dr. would have been very happy if they went to Kenya Kwanza. Dr. would have been very happy. And the same Dr. now, Victor, as I go to the other question of whether what are the options for Honorable Kalonzo if he's not given the running mate. You have said, you have heard Honorable Kalonzo himself say that, and I was actually following what was happening in Jacaranda. That he endorsed Raila unconditionally, Rosafi. Those are the words he used. After considering Raila and and Ruto, and also looking at the interest of Kenyans, is sacrificed for Raila. Yeah, when he was in Mwingi during an event where a bishop was being consecrated, and Raila was there, yeah, he even responded and said, whichever position I am given, yeah, I want to support Raila and make sure that Raila becomes president. But of course, let's also give his people a chance, yeah, to fight for him. Even Raila's people.
So what if he doesn't get that position? His lieutenants are fighting for.
Of course, it is not over until it is over, Victor. These people are fighting for their party leader.
9 days to go.
No, 9 days, even 1 day can make it, even 1 hour can make a difference. Yeah, it is not over until it is over, Victor.
Yes.
These people have a right to fight for their party leader. That is the ideology of the party. Wiper, One Kenya, Wiper is a party. They have to make sure that their person is there. But this notion that if he is denied the running mate, he will go to Kenya Kwanza. I think, Daktari, I'm sure very many Kenya Kwanza people are waiting for that. And they are hoping that he joins Kenya Kwanza. But I think, of course, this is politics.
Yes.
I think that is should be the list of the worries of the Azimio One Kenya. But there should be a question, a lesson, which Azimio also needs to learn. Remember, this fighting for power, because now clearly they are fighting for power, will give advantage to Kenya Kwanza. Let them quickly sit down and agree on a running mate who will deliver victory to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition. Victor, looking at the role of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and I want to disagree with my senior, Daktari. President Uhuru Kenyatta is playing a very active role in Kenyan politics right now, not passive. You know, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya is a political party, is a coalition political party, not an alliance. He is a chairman of a political party. Are you saying that a chairman of a political party is not playing an active role? He is the actually, if you look at the people who are governing Azimio la Umoja One Kenya, his main people are there. Even this team, which is being used to pick the running mate, his main team
he
is
sits
there.
at the executive board.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Even when it comes to forming the government, I'm sure very many ministers, CSs will come from Mount Kenya. Yeah. But the question is, doesn't Uhuru Kenyatta believe that he can deliver Mount Kenya for Azimio? Why do they think that they need to get Martha Karua so as to get to deliver Mount Kenya votes? And that time Mount Kenya is divided. Yeah, you know, of course, Uda Kenya say that, you know, all Mount Kenya belongs to Kenya, but Mount Kenya is divided. So, if already Uhuru Kenyatta is delivering Mount Kenya to Azimio, Mheshimiwa Kalonzo also has a very large following in Eastern and also even in the coast, Northeastern. Yeah, he should also be given a chance to deliver to Azimio, because all they want is to form a government. I heard sentiments of the likes of Atwoli and of course Charity Ngilu, when they are trying to fight Kalonzo being a running mate. These people, of course, are fighting for positions. Yeah, they are fighting for their own political interest. But the truth is, even every Kenyan is aware that Kalonzo will make the best running mate to Raila. But of course, looking at the issue, the past issues between Raila and Kalonzo, of course, how NASA fell out of mistrust. Yeah, ODM supporters and also Wiper supporters, there were a lot of mistrust. You saw how.
Okay, you know one funny thing. Let me just put this question this way. All right. So when One Kenya Alliance came to Azimio, we've never had Honorable Gideon Moi giving ultimatums. We've never had all other chiefs giving ultimatums. It's only Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka.
You are forgetting that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is the leader of One Kenya Alliance.
Yes,
is the leader who makes a statement, and of course Kalonzo has never given
Azimio as a team.
Yes, but
which means they should be having a common demand from Azimio wing.
Yes. But
why him alone?
But even in Kenya Kwanza, do you see Mudavadi, for example, and Wetangula and all the other parties who joined Kenya Kwanza having who is the spokesperson of Kenya Kwanza mostly? It is the deputy, the president, who is the party leader, who is always speaking on behalf of Kenya Kwanza mostly. So Kalonzo is speaking on behalf of One Kenya. Have you heard Gideon Moi contradicting Honorable Kalonzo? Have you heard?
No.
Exactly. So he's speaking on behalf of Gideon Moi and all other One Kenya Alliance parties.
somebody saying that Kalonzo Musyoka is going to rock the boat. Daktari.
No. Let me tell you though, the formation of the Kenya Kwanza, as it was, it was meant to do, a stronger bargaining power in entering into, in forming a bigger coalition like Azimio.
Yes.
So actually, the basis of coming together was to form a strong bargaining power, so that they can now demand what they are demanding now, the position of the deputy president.
Yes.
So in fact, what Kalonzo is demanding is actually what the Kenya Kwanza was actually, was eyeing from the very beginning. And in this case, what Kalonzo is reading is the previous mistrust. The way they were, the very mistrust that broke the NASA as a team is what Kalonzo is still reading. He's still reading the mischief in the whole process. So in this case, for him to trust that the process was, because after signing, I could not see the reason why he should be worried. So there are so many things that are playing in Olo, the interest. Now that Azimio, something that they were fighting for, is now in existence, and the direction is already visible. So whatever these people are doing now, they only wanted Kalonzo to give them the company, which of course they already have. And of course, that was a way of disarming Kalonzo.
Yes.
So the Kalonzo is already disarmed. He cannot run anywhere. Even if he runs, he's all alone. Are you getting what I'm saying? Because already Mutua is there, already Ngilu is there, already Kibwana is there. So the backlog of Ukambani is with him. Even though Kalonzo refuted in one of the charges recently that I don't need this type of tribalism, that I'm beyond the tribe. That he has also translated to other places in the Republic of Kenya, that he has, elected positions in most of the places, that my brother has actually said. And of course, this issue of tribe is what Kalonzo hates.
Yes.
I overheard him actually talking loudly that these things I should not be tucked into a tribal, gagoon. But basically, although what we are actually saying in playing in Mount Kenya region, it is not about the division. Mount Kenya has actually has actually decided. The only problem that is there is that these people feel that they are entitled to have a slot, the second slot, the number 2 position. Yes. They have that stake. Because that is what is also the UDA, that is what the people, UDA membership is actually pushing Ruto to get somebody from Mount Kenya. So it is not all, it's not about Mount Kenya alone.
I will just ask you this question now, all right? So over the weekend, or actually so on Monday, they fronted Martha Karua as the running mate, the Women League, and they said, we believe in Honorable Martha Karua to take that position. So what if Martha Karua is picked, and why now Martha Karua is being picked?
What I expected all along, the big fighter who has been fighting for Right Honorable Raila Odinga has been Ngilu. And when I saw Ngilu the other day proposing Martha Karua as the running mate of Right Honorable Raila Odinga, I wonder where she failed. Because she has been at the forefront supporting Right Honorable Raila. And if I was to be asked in about a month or two,
yes,
I would have said Ngilu is actually the one who can fit to be the deputy to deputize Right Honorable Raila Odinga.
Yes.
Because she has been a strong person. And if the Kamba people and the likes were actually after the number 2 position, they should also be pushing Ngilu. But the other day, Ngilu seems to have abdicated. She seems to have actually the idea of running mate is not in her mind anymore, and that is why she's coming up with Martha Karua. But of course, you don't have to forget, that these people are fighting for the gender equality.
Yes.
So they are pushing this lady because they found it to be more, favorable. To bull Mount Kenya, because they think that the backyard of Ukambani is already safe with the Ngilu, the likes of Kibuta Kibwana and all those. So we need to have somebody from Mount Kenya who will bring more votes, and that will form actually a strong team to make Raila win. And that is actually the strategy. So it is not about being very competent. It's about who will bring who.
It's about who will bring who.
Yes.
No, but you know what happens in this situation? Because I'm still asking this. Honorable Martha Karua was fronted, and the women leaders came out and said the only lady who has all the chances and all the probabilities for being a running mate is Honorable Martha Karua.
Yes.
Somebody would argue this was meant to stir up the whole matrix of who is going to be the running mate. So you have got Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka on this end, and you're dangling Honorable Martha Karua on this end, and you are Raila Odinga. It must be a very hard point for you to be a Raila Odinga right now.
That is very true, because we must all agree to one point, one thing, that in politics you have to show A, card A, then you pull B, so that we confuse. And there is that hidden one. At the end of the day, it's a matter of we are trying to play different. We can say different agendas here. One, we must consider gender, so that for it to be seen as Azimio to be, one of the of the political groupings that consider gender as one of its key things. Two, I'll go back to this point. The central factor is also important. Also, we saw the Women League fronting Martha Karua as their candidate.
Yes.
But we must also see that Peter Kenneth might also be in the picture of that from Central. So it's a matter of trying to disarm Kenya Kwanza in terms of not fronting, not showing the card that Azimio will play on the deputy president position, so that to stir up everything that Kenya Kwanza thinks, so that at the end of the day, when they pull the card, it already disarms Kenya Kwanza. So yes, it might be a stir-up for me.
Must be a stir-up.
Yes.
We are running out of time, so let me get to your closing remarks at this particular point, Katisi, because number one, so a day has come, and people are sitting, the country is watching, and Kalonzo's name is not there as a running mate. What next? A minute after that.
Yes. First of all, I will respond to the issue of how the likes of Ngilu and these women, League of Azimio, came together and proposed Honorable Martha Karua.
Yes.
Honorable Martha Karua is a senior counsel. I respect her a lot. But Daktari was very right by asking, why didn't Ngilu support Martha Karua? And clearly, Ngilu has a more national appeal, according to many people, than Karua. It is political. Number one, Ngilu knows that she has no numbers, even from her own county, where if she vies now as a governor, she will lose. She knows she has no numbers, and that's why she shied away from proposing herself as a running mate. The other issue is tribalism, because they know the preferred person as running mate by many people in those structures is from Mount Kenya. They said, why can't we put Martha Karua there? The issue of gender is just being misused. We all know that between Honorable Martha Karua and Honorable Peter Kenneth, putting gender aside, Peter Kenneth would have brought more votes to Raila than Martha Karua. Looking at how she lost in Kirinyaga County. Issue of now trying to compare Kalonzo and Martha Karua. I think Kenyans are watching. Those people who are comparing Martha Karua and Kalonzo, they are not being realistic. They are playing politics. But now to respond to your question and give my final remarks, Olo, is that in the event that by 28th of April, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is not announced as the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance running mate, there will be political consequences. Whether he chooses to stick to Azimio la Umoja or go out of Azimio la Umoja, that's his own personal choice.
Yes.
Because he has a choice. Those people who are telling him there's no way you can go, they are very wrong. He has an option. They should know that. If he can even go all the way to the ballot, he has an option. Remember, he has Wiper, which endorsed him as the presidential candidate. The other issue is that, and if he decides to stick to Azimio, as another member, because that's also another option. The question is, would he have brought more value to Azimio as a member or as a deputy president? That's the big question.
Yes.
Truth be told, that UDA and Kenya Kwanza have traversed this country. They have also tried to intrude into Ukambani, for example. That is the truth. And we need somebody who can stop Kenya Kwanza from successfully intruding into these the regions. Remember, in 2013 and 2017, Raila and Kalonzo got so many votes. Now that they have the support of President Uhuru Kenyatta, it's just a top-up, and they will win. But my advice to Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate, Honorable Raila Odinga, is that he is the leader of Azimio. He is the party leader. Let him put all these political interests of his people aside and make a sober decision and lead this coalition. And number two, I want to urge Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. Yeah, he also has a role to play by bringing his people together. If he brings Ngilo Mutua and Kibwana and all Ukamba leaders together, and they speak with one voice, I'm sure they'll negotiate better that way.
You know what,
but when they are fighting,
Dr. says that
yes.
Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka should just cross the floor and come to the UDA side.
No, of course that's what Dr. wants, but as I conclude, Victor,
there's more room for him.
Yes, as I conclude, there will be more harm to Azimio if Kalonzo is not running it. There'll be more harm. Let the Azimio, that team which is speaking the running mate, know that. There'll be more harm. Because this guy is bringing a lot of input to Azimio, a lot of value. He can bring votes on his own. He has once voted as a president. He was number 3 with so many votes. He has once brought so many votes to Raila. So he is more valuable compared to these other people. But of course, the decision, as many people have said, lies with the presidential candidate. You know, Raila will choose, no, I'm the presidential candidate. Allow me to choose my own running mate. Of course, they have their own history. They have had conflicts before, especially in the NASA fallout. Of course, they are mature politicians. I'm sure Raila will grow from there and manage his team and be able to make good leadership for Azimio One Kenya coalition. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know what, gentlemen, I'm told we are running out of time. Of course, we are eating into another segment. Promise me that we'll be back here next week so that we can, time is running, and in the next 9 days, Honorable Raila Odinga will be flying out of the country on 21st, and once he'll be back, then a lot of political realignment will also take place. Just a quick update is that we have in Kisumu County, Professor Tom Ojienda will fly that ODM Senate ticket, and Ruth Odinga has clinched that woman representative ticket in just concluded Kisumu County nominations. And one funny thing, only 12 MCS out of the 35 retain their seats. Something we're talking about, that most of these people have been voted out. So we all agree that Kenyans are now voting out leaders. It's all about manifesto and ideas. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. We've been speaking to Kevin Katisia, senior counsel, so to speak.
Aspiring.
All right, and that is our Wakili Kevin Katisia, and of course Nobato Dulu is joining us for the first time. Thank you so much for joining us. He's international relations student with a lot of focus on politics. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, Daktari here,
thank you so much.
Dr. Otich, always having you on the show is a pleasure. Gentlemen,
thank you.
Tuendeni tukunywe chai sasa, ndio? Tumemaliza hii kazi. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
All right.
legendary run to Olympia Stadion in Berlin is now less crowded, with only 4 teams out of 64 still in contention. Something more outstanding is that all of the sides to have won the DFB Pokal over the last 29 years are already out this year.
And Leverkusen are knocked out by a Bundesliga 2 side.
In the first DFB Pokal semi-final, Hamburger SV will face Freiburg on Tuesday, the 19th of April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. While in the second semi semi-final, RB Leipzig will lock horns with Union Berlin on Wednesday, the 20th April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. Having braced the turbulent journey and buoyed up with the trophy in sight, no team want to go down without a fight. You don't want to miss this adventurous football show, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
A true love in which family will be the main hardship to achieve happiness.
Well, I understand it, Mom, but I don't want to break up with Adrian.
Paulina will have to confront her own father. And Adrian will suffer due to his sister Julieta's obsession.
No! Not with her! No! Not with her! No!
Paulina is the woman I truly love!
No!
But regardless of jealousy and intrigue,
Karen, open the door, please!
they will fight for their love until the end.
Chagua kati ya kakangu na mpenzi wangu. Mama, are you really okay?
There's nothing you can say to change what I feel.
Sijakuja hapa kwa kuwa nimekumisi. Naona utazipata hizo tabu sana.
Achana kujipendekeza kwa mume wangu.
Umemaliza? Oh, okay.
You don't know much about your son. He's so timid. He wouldn't do anything desperate.
What are you trying to say, huh? Stop playing the sad card in front of me. What you did is unforgivable. You didn't even get half of what you deserve.
I heard it with my own ears. The woman who looks like Pinky was calling Mrs. Gao Mom.
Ah, come on. You must have gotten it wrong. That's impossible.
What I lost was more than my daughter and a piece of land. It's also my 30 years of life.
Pia tunazungumzia fadhila za mwezi mtukufu wa Ramadhani. Wanaombea msamaha watu wenye kutoa sadaka, wanaombea msamaha watu wenye kufuturisha, wanaombea msamaha kila mtu aliyekubali kufuata maamrisho ya Mwenyezi Mungu.
يراني نقولها قدام السامعين واللي متابعين الفرد وسناه يراني لنحاشم.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us this far. You know, I'm just smiling because of what is going on behind the scenes. There's one man by the name of Kinyi. Anatembea akipasha watu maneno. Ametoka kuuliza watu kwani ilikuwa kifo yako ama ya Yesu? But nonetheless, we still love you, Okinyi. Thank you for being the best version of yourself. But in case you are just joining us, karibu tena sana. This is Good Morning Kenya. My name is Jane Womboy. We want to now move on to the next segment, as we always do every Wednesday. And this is all about women. This is Women at the Forefront. All about breaking that glass ceiling and just championing for all things women. And with us in studio today, we have Maria Opondo, who is the administrator working with Mana Ministries International. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for making time to be with us today.
Thank you for the invite.
Are you on the social media platforms?
Sure, I am.
How can our viewers be able to interact with you?
On my Facebook page, I'm Maria Atieno Opondo. You can also find us Mana Ministries on the Facebook page also. Mana Ministries International. and our website is www.mana.or.ke.
All right, so she is the administrator at Mana Ministries International, and she's also the founder of a community-based organization by the name Blessed to Be a Blessing, which we'll be getting to in a bit. But let's first start with understanding a bit about more of your role as the administrator at Mana Ministries International. What is the organization all about?
Mana Ministries International is a non-denominational charity organization that partners with churches and individual groups and other individual partners just to serve humanity. Our vision is serving the church, reaching the world, and our backbone is discipleship. So basically, whatever we do, there is someone that we point out to, and that is Christ Jesus, because we are a Christian-based organization. Under Mana Ministries, we have different programs. One of them is Shelter a Widows program, where we have built over 600 houses for widows across the country. We also have school scholarship program, whereby we have a primary school academy back in Kisumu, which has over 400 pupils.
Beautiful.
Where we just teach them free of charge and sponsor them to high school. We also do seminars, conferences in partnership with churches, just to spread the grace and the knowledge of Christ Jesus.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you know, just early on, you were talking about a bit more about these programs that you undertake under ministries, the Mana Ministries, and you mentioned the aspect of mentorship. And whenever we talk about mentorship, it is always an area that most people feel they can venture into. But looking at how you have approached it as the ministry, how does it look like?
For us, we tend to believe that despite of our background, despite of our challenges, we need to live in a healthy society. And because of there's so much things that are going on in the 21st century, we believe that for us to be able to achieve a healthy society, we need to do mentorship program, because there are very different views and perspectives about life. And that's why our target is the young generation, because as they grow up, they face obstacles, they face challenges, they come across people who teach them on different perspective of life. So if someone doesn't get the right mentorship program, they might find themselves at a place where they are going astray or working against the society and the kingdom of God at large.
All right.
Yes.
And you know, whenever we talk about mentorship and the aspect of religion coming into play, and especially focusing on the youth, it always becomes a sensitive area. Now, given you're also approaching this particular aspect of mentorship from a Christian-based point of standing, has that had a different impact from what you have seen with the youth that you've interacted with?
Sure, yes, it has.
And in what way?
In this way, you know, when you go to meet a youth, you already have a target, which I've said for us it is the discipleship. So when I set my principles and my goals right, for me to be able to conquer the heart or the soul of someone that I'm going to mentor, I must have a goal. And for us, the goal is to point them to Christ. And that's why when we go out to the when we go out to the youth to help them with mentorship and how to approach life and everything, we just don't look at them in a religious religious way, because we tend to believe that just apart from the religious thing, there are other aspects of life, and when we open up to other aspects of life, it is easier for us to reach our goal.
That's fantastic, because that's one area that most people just focus on. We're going to teach you about religion, and we focus on that because that is what your life is all about, forgetting all these other aspects of an individual, which again, you've pointed out, everyone is an all-rounded person. Now, let's come to your CBO, the Blessed to Be a Blessing organization. Tell us a bit about, you know, what it does and when it was founded.
Blessed to Be a Blessing was founded in the year 2016, and we came as a group back in the slums of Dandora. That time there were so much wrangles between the youths and the police. So many killings were going on, and people were protesting. And so we thought that because we've been raised in this slum, I think there is something that we can do. So we came up as a group of few friends, and then we began the mentorship program, looking for a group of youths, just talking to them. But then again, because of some other reasons and personal reasons, some people left, and because I was the founding director, I was left with the group alone. So from 2016 to 2018, I was just doing some few outreach with my 2 or 3 friends. But then again, in 2018, now we met with Mana Ministries International, and now we became active more than ever. And through that partnership, we've been able to reach more than 1,000 youths in the slums of Nairobi, in the informal settlements, in Mombasa, in the interior areas, in Kisumu, in Kajiado. So we are just traversing the whole country doing this mentorship program.
And what has been the main driving factor or the main objective under Blessed to be a Blessing, considering the background and the area? You know, looking at the space that you founded this CBO was based on the hardship that the youth are facing in Dandora. So after the 2 years that you went back to the books to sort of strategize, then you got to work with Mana Ministries. What was the end goal? What was the objective there?
To preserve the dignity of the young people in the slums. Because, in the slums, life is different from other areas. Because many young people are living a disadvantaged life, and they tend to feel like they have lost their dignity. They do not have any value. We are living just on a daily survival. So for us as Blessed to be a Blessing, our main goal is to preserve the dignity of the young people in the slums and beyond. Yes.
And what are some of the projects that and programs that you've been able to undertake under Blessed to be a Blessing, and of course later on in partnership with the ministries?
Through the mentorship program, we were able to dig deeper and know and find out the needs of the young people in the slums. And one of them, we came to realize that most young girls are engaging in very bad activities just because they cannot afford a sanitary or rather a feminine hygiene pack. And so through the mentorship program and in partnership with Mana Ministries, besides just going and using our voice, we've been able to put resources together. And so every time we do the mentorship program, if we have the boys, we have something that would help them even with their hygiene, because we believe that when somebody is clean from the inside, it helps them even to see the world in a different perspective. So we do give hygiene pack that contains sanitary towels, soap, panties, boxers, and also vests for the boys.
All right.
Yes.
And looking at the time that you have been working with Blessed to be a Blessing from 2016 when it was initially founded, and now we are in 2022. Those are 6 years since. What are some of the challenges that you've encountered, and especially so going back to your target group and your target environment?
One of the big challenge is funds, because for you to be able to reach out and conduct the meeting in an ample manner, you need funding. And with the support that we get from Mana and one of our partners, All for His Glory, we tend to feel that we use what we have just to reach those who are available for us. But the dire need is so great. So one of the challenges is funding. We have not encountered any challenges with the government, but we tend to think that at some point, if also the government can be supporting the things that the charity organizations are doing, it will be a great deal.
Go a long way.
Yes, it will go a long way.
Now, this brings me to understanding or how we can bring in the parents of these kids that are in these informal settlements, because you know these kids found themselves there because they didn't choose to be there, some of them, and some of them also still live with their parents, and others may not be living with their parents. But how then do you think you can also just bring the parents on board to be part of these programs that you do, and especially when it comes to mentoring these youth in these environs?
For now, we have a plan, you know, because when you gift a child, if a parent is responsible, once they go with the gift back at home, the parents ask, where did you get this? So because of what we've been doing and with the support for the girl child and the boy child, many parents have been asking, even they've been coming to us asking, but why do you do what we do? And so we've been thinking that instead of just working with the children alone, if we can incorporate the parents through seminars and conferences, it will be a great deal. Now, but I'm coming back to what the challenge is. When you don't have the resources, you just do what you can at the moment. But in the future, we plan to be bringing this teenage youths together with their parents. Even if it is for a seminar, the parents can speak out their heart, and the children also can speak out their heart, so that we may be able to bring them in one connection. Because you know, sometimes the children that we serve, most of them, especially those that are in the slums, do not have a good relationship with their parents, because you know as a parent, you are struggling to feed your children all the stresses of life. So if you're not careful, you end up hurting your children without knowing. So they will come and share with us and say, hey, I'm not in good terms with my mother. He keeps on bashing me every time and then. But because now you understand it on the psychological aspect of it, you understand, because of the stresses and everything that the parent is going through, and they do not have someone to mentor them, to advise them, they end up piling burdens on the child. On the children, and
that can in one way or the other be counterproductive. You know, on one end you're working to empower this youth, but they go back to the same home. And the same frustrations are still meted on these children.
That's right.
So now, looking at such aspects and also still being part of the challenges, what forms of assistance do you think would be necessary to the cause to just make sure that when it comes to the mentorship program, it is actually effective? When it comes to getting this menstrual hygiene management products, it is also effective. Getting the decency packages for the boys is also effective. And also the personnel that could be involved in just making sure that you are sending out and sharing the proper forms of assistance.
So I think because we have contacts, the biggest thing that anyone or any person watching us today can do is to just support us with the resources that we need. We need fundings. We need these hygiene products. Even if you cannot afford to give us the money, you can supply us with sanitary packs, because the need is so great. But as much as we do not have enough for everyone, we will just work with those that we can serve. So the thing is just getting the material things that we need, and also putting up the logistic aspect of everything to ensure the mentorship program is running, and also getting good mentors, good teachers. You know, sometimes, you know, if you keep on, you are the one who keeps on doing the same things the same time, you might end up teaching these children the same things. So we need more facilitators who have different mind, who have different experiences, to come together to help with the mentorship program.
All right.
Yes.
And have you have instances where, you know, the youth that you have mentored have, you know, undergone these transformative phases in their lives and just turned their whole lives around and came back to just assist in Blessed to Be, a Blessing, or the ministries?
Yes. We for now we have just one lady, and this lady is in the university. One day she came to our mentorship program, and she was going through a period of let me say depression.
Yes.
And when we spoke to her about self-esteem, she had everything, and after a few months, he called me and said that because of the mentorship program, now I've been able to come out of this cocoon that has been making me feel like I am not living in a free world. And because of that, I will be sharing the smallest thing that I can get. So because of the mentorship program, we have a girl, just a university girl, that every month supports us with 1 box of sanitary towels, and that's give us the encouragement to keep on doing what we are doing.
All right.
Yes.
Now, we are ripe in the political season, and we always know whenever politics come around, the youth tend to be sensationalized, and they're given little money here and there to just, you know, create chaos in one point or the other, or actually support politicians. And you find most of the youth that are involved are those in vulnerable situations, in informal settings, because yes, they do need the money, and at the end of the day, somebody is offering. Now, looking at this particular situation, the politics that is currently ongoing in our country, have you guys factored it in terms of guiding the youth during this time?
Yes.
And how so?
Just last Saturday, we had the mentorship program, and because just like you're saying, we knew it was it's political time, and everything is going up. We had the mentorship program with the girls only. So we talked to them and shared out that yes, we understand we are in a political season and we will be doing campaigns, but we taught them that they need to take their stand, because some of them have ideas and they've come to an age where they can vote. We talked to them, and we showed them that as much as they have the people that they are supporting, they need to take their stand and also campaign responsibly. They do not need to run after handouts and at the end of the day end up causing chaos. Yeah, they can just do a simple thing: campaign peacefully and also vote rightfully for the people they know that they want. Yeah.
So campaign peacefully, make sober decisions.
Yes.
All right. And we do hope they actually take this to mind, because we understand politics can be very sensationalizing, and especially so for the youth. You can be used for the wrong reasons, and at the end of the day, you as the youth are the ones that are going to suffer the harshest consequences of this politicking. Now, this brings me to now the aspect of women also in this environment, in this informal settings, because we always find there's so many single-parent households, and most of them involve women. And you had mentioned there was a program that involved widows.
Yes.
In as much as you said you build houses for them, was it so?
Yes, we do.
How are we also empowering these women to establish themselves economically, such that they can be able to sustain themselves and these homes that you're actually setting up for them under the ministries?
So apart from just building the houses for them, we have a monthly feeding program that we feed all the widows who are in our program. And for that reason, in this program, we have widows who have come together, and we've helped them to register different groups, and we are trying to help them know that as widows, they have their rights. There is a certain way and there is a certain level that the government can help them, even to purchase grants and loans.
Yes.
And with that, they've been able to start up small businesses, and most of them are catering for their families through the small businesses that they've been able to put up.
They've become self-sufficient.
Yes.
That's beautiful. And you also brought up the aspect of schools that you have built, and especially the one school that you have set up in Kisumu.
Yes.
Education is also another area that so many of the young people get to suffer due to the state that is, and especially so in the country. And when it comes to this aspect of setting up schools, and this is a project that is under the Mana Ministries International, how can also the ministry and the county governments be brought on board to factor in this aspect of setting up more schools for the less disadvantaged children in informal settings?
When our founding director was putting up the school, our founding director is called Maurice Odhiambo, together with his wife Benta Odhiambo. When they came together to put up the school, their main objective was to be able to help the children who are around Seme area to get what? To get education.
Yes.
And because of that, over 400 children now are getting education through free sponsorship. So I tend to think that if we can get more people, just like the way our founding director thought of bringing up a vision of putting up a school, not he overlooked the space that he had. He could have chosen to put something else. So if we can get more people who can come on board, who have spaces that schools can be put up, it will be a good thing. If we have a person in Seme, we have another one maybe in Kombewa, we have another one in Olo. If we have a person in Madare, in Kebera, who has a space where somebody can put up a school, because I tend to believe that if you do not have a space for putting up the facility, it will be hard for you to start a school. So if we can get more people to volunteer to build up facilities, through now in partnership, if I have a space and I talk to the county government and they agree to help me with building up a school, I think it will be a great idea.
All right.
Yes.
Now, as we draw this conversation to a close, it now brings in the aspect of those children and the youth that do not have a safe space to go to. You know, they could be homeless or they could be in abusive household setups, but they also want to be part of this mentorship. And, you know, they come there, get the knowledge that they can, but they also have to go back to this maybe toxic environment or no home at all. How can they also be assisted? This particular group that don't have a safe haven to fall back to.
What we do for us now as Mana Ministries and Blessed to be a Blessing is that we try to follow up with children who are going abuse. And because we've connected with orphanages and homes, children's home that are secure for children and convenient for them, if we find a case where it is possible for us legally to take this child and take him to a safe haven, we've done that to several children, just coming together with the government and taking this child out of this toxic environment and taking them to a children's home. And with that, we have a vision. In 2023, God willing, January, we will be putting up a children's home, a very big children's home back in Kisumu, where we can be taking children who are going through who undergoing a rejection and everything, maybe living in a toxic environment, and be able to help them to live there and find a safe place for them.
All right. And what about those that are, you know, living with abusive parents who are abusing them, or relatives and caregivers? Could be sexually, could be mentally, could be psychologically, and yet they keep reporting, but nothing is being done. How can the police and the service be brought to ensure that these kids, when they actually speak out, they get the help they need? Because we have seen time and again when young people speak out about violence that has been perpetrated against them, most of the time they're not believed, or some are not believed, and they have to go back to the same vicious cycle.
That is where now it takes us to a point of taking action. You know, sometimes because you understand that you are the voice to the voiceless, and you are the leg to those that cannot walk or run. We take action and do the follow up to the latter end, even if we have to take this child, as long as we are in the right position with the government. We do that. We just take the child through the local authorities and help them to do, or rather to live a healthy life.
All right.
Yes.
Now, as we close the conversation, you know, so many people are watching us today, the youth, their parents, the caregivers. What would be your call to action message or your word of advice when it comes to taking care of these children that are considered to be vulnerable? Yes, there's your camera. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. The advice that I will give to the youth first is that you need to be your brother's keeper. You know, so many people are dying because they do not have someone who can speak to them. If you have a voice and you have a sense that one of your fellow youth is undergoing through a very difficult challenge, speak up and be their voice. Even if you have to speak up to the local authorities, even if you have to go to the churches to get the help that they need, be their voice. And to the parents, it doesn't matter what challenge you may be going through, because your children are the future, are the future of this country and the society. Just ensure that everything and every challenge that you are going through, you do not put this burden of the challenge or difficulties that you are going through and instill them on your children, because it ends up affecting them negatively, and they will not grow up to be positive people in the society.
All right, there you have had it. We have been speaking with Maria Opondo, who is the administrator working with Mana Ministries International, and she's also the founder of Blessed to Be a Blessing, which is a community-based organization that was established back in 2016. Thank you so much for making time to be with us today.
Thank you.
Remind us of your social media handles once more.
My Facebook account is Maria Atieno Opondo. For the organization, Facebook page is Mana Ministries International, and Blessed to Be a Blessing is our Facebook page for the other organization. And you can also find us through our website www.mana.or.ke.
All right, so if you want to get in touch, you can do so via those social media platforms. For now, we want to bring it to a close. My name is Jane Wamboy. Thank you so much for being with us. Be sure to catch us again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye for now. I'll see you tomorrow.
Na hii ni Mitikasi Leo, makala kutoka BBC yaliyomo. Tunauliza iwapo wazi wa malipo kazini utasaidia kupunguza pengo kati ya wanaolipwa fedha nyingi na wale wanaopata pesa kidogo. Baadaye, sabuni inaiga mtindo wa vyakula vitamu ili kumfurahisha mnunuzi, kisha matumizi ya makumbi ya nazi katika kutengeneza kamba na mchanga wa kupanda miche. Mbashara kutoka Nairobi, Kenya. Tuende kazi. Masalam na karibu katika toleo la leo. Makala yanaangazia habari za biashara zinazokuhusu. Uchambuzi wa kina na mahojiano ni Linus Mwashigadi. Na bosi wako analipwa hela ngapi kwa mwezi? Natumai hujui. Je, wenzako mlio katika daraja moja kazini wanalipwa hela ngapi? Je, ungependa wajue hela unazolipwa wewe kwa mwezi? Hebu tuzungumzie uwazi wa malipo ambao ni mkakati wa kuzungumzia mishahara ya wafanyakazi ndani ya kampuni. Janga la COVID-19 linaongeza pengo la mapato kati ya maeneo yaliyo kusini mwa jangwa la Sahara barani Afrika na ulimwengu kote. Na kulingana na PricewaterhouseCoopers, wastani wa mshahara wa mkurugenzi mtendaji nchini Afrika Kusini ni $357,057, huku wastani wa mshahara wa mfanyakazi katika kampuni ya nishati ya Eskom ni $31,000 kwa mwaka. Hii ina maana kuwa kwa kila dola mfanyakazi wa kawaida anapata, mkurugenzi mkuu analipwa zaidi ya mara 12. Makampuni kama vile Tesla yana mapengo madogo ya mshahara, uwiano wa 1:1, lakini hiyo sio habari kamili, kwani Elon Musk anamiliki 17% ya hisa za kampuni hiyo iliyo na thamani ya trilioni ya madola. Uwazi wa mishahara huongeza ufahamu wa kupunguza upendeleo katika malipo. Kampuni ya PayScale iligundua kuwa wafanyakazi wengi hawajui jinsi wanavyolipwa kulingana na soko. Kando na hayo, watu wanaohisi kuwa wanalipwa hela kidogo wana uwezo wa 50% kutafuta ajira kwengineko. Tumeuliza wataalamu wetu chini ya nembo ya 100 bora iwapo uwazi katika malipo itatoa suluhu kwa swali hili. Walikuwa na maoni mseto, tusikize.
Ningependelea makampuni yanapotangaza kazi waweke wazi masuala ya mshahara, kwa sababu mara nyingine unaweza kaomba kazi ukawaambia mshahara kidogo lakini kazi zikawa nyingi. Wanapotuambia mshahara utalipa kiasi gani, itakuwa rahisi pia na mimi kuambia, kwa sababu nitakuwa najua kazi zangu.
Ni bora iwapo hii mishahara itakuwa wazi ili kuwa na usawa, ushirikiano uongezeke na pia vile watu wawe na motisha pale kazini.
Awali nilizungumza na Richard Magoma, mtaalam aliyobobea katika usimamizi wa wafanyakazi. Nilianza kwa kumuuliza iwapo kuna manufaa ya hatari yoyote ya kuwa na uwazi kuhusu mishahara. Tumsikize.
Kuna manufaa na kuna upungufu fulani wa kuonyesha watu wanapata mshahara gani, kwa sababu kuna sheria ambayo inasema information, habari ya mtu ambaye kupokea mshahara fulani isipatikane kwa kila mtu. Manufaa yaliyopo ni inaleta ule trust, ina increase uaminifu. Watu wanajua ya kwamba nikifanya hili nitapata pesa fulani. Kama niko na education fulani, niko na elimu fulani, niko na ujuzi fulani, niko na ustadi fulani, nitapata pesa fulani.
Na je, pengo la malipo kati ya anayelipwa zaidi na anayelipwa chini kabisa linaweza kupunguzwa kivipi?
Kidogo tu, lakini sio sana, kwa sababu wafanyikazi wana elimu tofauti, wana ustadi tofauti, wana ujuzi tofauti, wana tajriba tofauti. Pengo linaweza kupunguzwa wafanyikazi wakiwa na elimu sawa, wakiwa na ustadi sawa, wakiwa na ujuzi sawa, lakini hatuwezi fika ile hali ambao watu wanaweza kuwa na education, experience, ustadi, ujuzi sawa. Kwa hivyo sio rahisi sana. Kupunguza inaweza punguzwa, lakini iwezi fikiwa kabisa.
Na je, mtu anaanzaje mazungumzo ama mchakato mzima wa kuhusu swala zima la mishahara, hasa wakati unapoajiriwa sawa na kuambatana na majukumu ambayo umepewa?
Jambo la muhimu ni utafiti wa mshahara. Lazima ufanye utafiti. Hiyo industry inapatiana mshahara gani? Wafanyikazi wa kiwango fulani wanapata mshahara. Kwa hivyo jambo muhimu sana ni utafiti wa mshahara kwanza kabla uingie katika mahojiano. Kabla uingie mahojiano umefanya utafiti, ndio umekaribia karibu na ule mshahara wako nao, ile budget wako nayo. Usipofanya utafiti wa mshahara huwezi most likely huwezi sema ile mshahara wanataka. Kwa hivyo lazima ujue ile budget, ukaribie na budget. Na hii budget ukikaribia ni lazima ukuwe umefanya ustadi fulani, ufanya research. Kuna zile kampuni huwa zinafanya research za mshahara, usome kabisa hizo vitabu ndio ujue imefikia